Next on Fox Sports Saturday at the races, Quip made a splash on last year's Triple Crown Trail with a win in the Tampa Bay Derby. He makes his first start since the Preakness in the Hal's Hope. At Aqueduct, Forgotten Hero is becoming a 3-year-old filly to remember. She puts her perfect record on the line in the Franklin Square. Already a stakes winner at Oaklawn Park, George's Reward tries to stamp herself as a true horse for course specialist in the Down the Dusty Road Breeders. And at Santa Anita, it's a down-the-hill turf sprint where connections of mountain spirit hope her experience in her debut translates into a maiden victory. Fox Sports Saturday at the races is brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. Welcome to Fox Sports Saturday at the races on Fox Sports 2. Great to have you with us for another edition of the show. Greg Wolf in studio with the Hall of Famer, Gary Stevens, four-time Major League All-Star Paul LaDuca. 4 racetracks this afternoon. We have stakes races at 3 of them, including out at Gulfstream in the Grade 3 Hal's Hope, where we're going to see the return of a horse who competed in last year's Triple Crown and Quip.
Yeah, and his last race was against Justify, and he jumped right into the deep end as a 3-year-old. This is a legitimate and logical place to start out as a 4-year-old against older horses for the first time. I think it's a great spot to come back, Paul.
It is, because, you know, usually sometimes the 4-year-old could be, his first start as a 4-year-old could be his best. And listen, he's young. Breaking Luck, he's going to be the favorite in that race. He's 7. Tail of Silence on the rail might be a sneaky horse, but I think it's a pretty good addition. You might be able to get a price in there.
And Tail of Silence, we last saw him. He won a Grade 3 at the Westchester. That was back in May of last year. We've not seen him since. A little interesting. He went to the bench off that performance. That is coming up along with a lot of other action from all around the country. Again, 4 racetracks we'll be bringing you this afternoon, including at Aqueduct, New York. The Franklin Square, 38 degrees, mostly cloudy. Out in Ozone Park, New York. We'll bring you a couple of races from there that are part of a cross-country Pick 5. Out at Gulfstream, back-to-back stakes. That's where the Hal's Hope will be contested. Along with the Texas Glitter, 81 degrees, mostly sunny. In Hallandale Beach, out in Hot Springs, Arkansas, down the Dusty Road Breeders. Our feature race, we're at 66 degrees and beautiful and sunny as always out here in Southern California, in Arcadia, California, where we will go down the hill on that unique turf course at 6.5 furlongs coming up. Our featured races today brought to you in part by WinStar Farm, the farm that pays you back. At Franklin Square, as we mentioned, for 3-year-old fillies, the feature in New York. Grade 3 Hal's Hope, we will see at Gulfstream. Great conditions at those 2 tracks. It is muddy at Oaklawn this afternoon for the Down the Dusty Road Breeders. And fast and firm today at Santa Anita, that 6th race. Maiden group going 6.5 furlongs on the turf. Cross-country Pick 5, it is back this afternoon. And it starts with the 8th at Aqueduct. We'll have the 8th and 9th from New York, and then races 7, 8, and 9 from Oaklawn. Of course, you can play that at NYRA.com/cross-country. Found out more about that wager coming up. And, of course, the way to get signed up and started and play along, go to NYRABets.com, bet 200, and you will get 200. Use that promo code LIVE to get signed up and started. Let's head to Oaklawn Park out in Hot Springs, Arkansas. We have quite a few races coming up, including that Down the Dusty Road Breeders. Let's check in with 2015 NHC Tour champion, Jonathan Kinchin, for more.
Aqueduct Pick 6 starting, or excuse me, the cross-country Pick 5 starting right here, race 8. The first leg, I'm going to use the 1 and the 4. Wadaldi Princess, the best closer in the race. The 4, Forgotten Hero, the best speed in the race. Don't have a strong opinion in race 9. I'm going to spread here using the 3, 4, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And then we're going to head over to Oaklawn, where I'm going to use the 1 and the 7 in this race right here. With the 7 in this spot, I felt like, you know, you wanted to try to get a horse that was going to be closing late, and I think Secret Passage is that horse. And then on to race 8, I have a single here with the 3 Superstar Bay. I think the horse is going to be extremely difficult coming from out of it. And then in the last leg, another tough claiming race, I'm going to spread here. I'm going to use the 1, 2, 4, 5, and 13.
I
think the 8th race, the Franklin Square here at Aqueduct, is actually a pretty interesting race. And one of the favorite stones in the road is an absolute throwout. Rode a very, very strong inside bias to victory last time. No knock on the 4 Forgotten Hero, and even the 6 Flush is a talented runner. They are the 2 horses to beat. But the 1 Wadadli Princess is a very interesting price play to me. She is obviously going to have to improve. Her speed figures are nowhere within hailing distance of the other rivals. But last time out, she ran against an extremely strong inside bias. The only horse that day to make up significant ground to do it on the outside was Wadadli Princess. So I actually believe her last race is considerably better than it looks. Is it going to be good enough to beat these horses? I don't know, but I think there will be ample pace. And more importantly, she's going to be a big price. I'm happy to take a shot at big price with Wadadli Princess to upset the Franklin Square here at the Big A.
I actually like that selection, Andy. I think that the horse got a big shot at a big price. My best bet is going to be Mountain Spirit. It's going to be the last race on the show today. Race number 6 here at Santa Anita. 6s are wild. Mountain Spirit is the 6 for Jeff Mullins and Mike Smith. Horse broke from the 12 hole for going down the hill, which already, you know, when you're debuting going down the hill, it's a rating experience. You have to make a right-hand turn. And when you break from the outside, it could be a little tricky. The horse ran a solid 3rd. The first 2 finishers came back to win. Jeff Mullins usually very good second time out, and he's already got a win on the card today.
Needless to say, all horse players are superstitious. We all have hexes and jinxes. Mine is trainer Mark Casse. I am about 1 for 3,000 with Mark, despite the fact he's won about a gazillion races. That 1, though, by the way, is War of Will, who's one of the favorites in the Kentucky Derby. So let's fast forward to the Texas Glitter, where Yes, I Am Free is in that race. Now, same connections. Gary Barber is the owner. Yes, indeed, Mark Casse is the trainer. And yes, I like I Am Free in the Texas Glitter. So if he wins, I'll be 2 for 3,001.
We're going to take a break of the action, just getting started. When we return, we'll continue along the road to the Kentucky Derby and talk about the Fountain of Youth, a race that you'll see on our show next weekend. It hits high gear out at Gulfstream Park, and a horse that's being talked about.
Runhappy is he's one of the more athletic sires that I've seen. He's clearly passing that on to his offspring. He's really staying from the foals, and they're starting to look a lot like him.
Well, this horse comes from a great sire who was just so talented, and we've wanted to buy one ever since we started looking in November.
16.5, Bargain Bank 250,000.
And then you add a sire like Runhappy, and then you put a physical on the ground like that baby, and you know, for us, it's a must-have.
Runhappy, standing at Claiborne Farm. Eclipse champion Blaine was considered by many as the breakout stallion of 2018. His top runners included Grade 1 winner and Eclipse Award finalist Marley's Freedom, plus Grade 1 winner Fault and graded stakes winners Moreau, Beyond Blaine, Miss Kentucky, and Blamed. His yearling sold up to $500,000, and his sensational daughter Fault brought $1.2 million at the November sale. Outstanding results, outstanding value. Blaine, standing at Claiborne Farm.
They're on. Bet the horses anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets. Rushes out of there to take the lead. It's easy on your computer or Naira Bets app. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Sign up now. Get a $200 new member sign-up bonus. Use promo code LIVE. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NairaBets.com.
Welcome back to Fox Sports Saturday at the races on Fox Sports 2. We're going to head out to Oaklawn Park, Hot Springs, Arkansas. $30,000 claiming race coming up at 1 mile and a 16th. Again, we told you the conditions muddy on that main track out there. And hardly a secret, the morning line favorite claimed off of Robertino Diodoro and coming off an impressive win in this horse's first try at Oaklawn last time out.
Yeah, listen, this horse galloped last time out for Diodoro. Now enters the John Cox barn, like you mentioned, and John is 43%, although he's 0 for 8 at the meet. But when you look at his first time in his barn, pretty darn good.
Play the 50-50 promotion on the Naira Bets app today. Earn a $10 bonus regardless if you win or lose. To earn your bonus, bet $50 at Aqueduct and $50 at Oaklawn on the Naira Bets app. You get that $10 bonus. Let's head to Jonathan Kinchin back in Hot Springs, Arkansas.
Over here at Oaklawn in race 5, the 6 is the horse that I'm really interested in. Obviously, there's 2 horses that are going to take a little bit of money, the 5 and the 8, based on their connections, but they're off the claim, and I'm not feeling great about that. I love the 6 horse, should be forwardly priced, 13-1, great price here. You know, we've got a minute to post. Obviously, if you wanted to get involved with the 5 here, 9-5, a little bit short for a horse that is coming off of out of a pretty powerful barn. Diodoro does a great job down here. Cox is 0 for 8 in the meet. Not really crazy about that. I think Sol Pise should be in a good spot. Like I said, a very good price. Inga on the outside, 7-1, a little bit colder than I thought that horse would be. The last race for Norm McKnight was not great, but the horse was bet that day, and I thought that he would take a little bit more money here. First time for Ingrid Mason. Obviously hasn't taken the money that I thought that he would. The 3, Bubba's Dixie, is another one that's a little bit interesting here. Getting bet, taking a lot of money, 2-1. I thought that this horse is going to be a little bit too far out of it. And I don't love taking closers on these types of surfaces that are going to be coming from way out of it. So we'll go with the 6, Sol Pise. Back to you, Greg.
Jonathan, thank you. I mean, we got to look at this muddy track as well and the conditions as we see the 5 horse there moving in, hardly a secret, but certainly Tab Salute from the rail, big win in the slop, and the 3 Bubba's Dixie was dominant on an off track in the past as well.
I'm liking Tab Salute down on the 1 hole here with Jared Loveberry. First time with McLean Robertson. Won on a sloppy track at Keeneland last time, coming back fresh right now.
Let's send it out to Vic Stauffer. You're watching Fox Sports Saturday at the races. Here's race 5 from Oaklawn.
They're off. Sol Pise and Hardly a Secret shows speed. Inge in the center and Romeo O Romeo, the outside 4, are fastest. Then comes Alton Tap Salute, followed by Switherall, and the early trailer is Bubba's Dixie. Sol Pise, fastest at the clubhouse turn, a 2-length lead on Romeo O Romeo in second. Then comes Hardly a Secret and Inge. They're together 3rd and 4th, and 4 lengths behind the front-running Sol Pise. Alt is 5th. He's already about 8 from the front. The Great Tab Salute has 11 lengths to make up. Then it's another big gap of about 8 or 9 back to Bubba's Dixie. And if Switherall wins it, he'll make up 20 lengths in the final 5 furlongs as Sol Pise is pumped up front. Sol Pise aggressive to the half-mile pole. He has opened up a 6-length lead on Inge, who just took second from Romeo O Romeo. Hardly a Secret moves through at the rail. He's 3rd now and about 6 from the front. Tap Salute is moving well. Here's Tap Salute. He's 5th now. Could get into 4th, but he is still about 8 lengths behind the front-running Sol Pise midway around the far turn. Sol Pise still with that enterprising race up front. Hardly a Secret begins to run after him, and here's Hardly a Secret. Now he is cutting into the margin of Sol Pise. 3 back to Alt, then Tap Salute and Inge, and at the top of the stretch, Sol Pise can hear the footsteps of Hardly a Secret, who's within 2 of the lead. Sol Pise past mid-stretch. Now he only leads by 1.5 lengths as Hardly a Secret continues to cut into that margin. Sol Pise is still there, though. Sol Pise, Hardly a Secret took a run at him, and Sol Pise turned him away. Sol Pise to the wire to win. Sol Pise won 1 length and 3/4. Hardly a Secret was 2nd. Bubba's Dixie came from far back to be 3rd.
Sol Pise, Channing Hill takes them gate to wire in the 5th at Oaklawn. Nice call from Jonathan Kinchin.
I'll tell you what, both of you guys, Paul and Greg, you've asked me, is that track muddy? Well, it's to the point where it's drying out right now, and I think what you're going to see at Oaklawn Park the rest of the afternoon is that track starts to dry out. It turns into a little bit of peanut butter, and it becomes a no-passing zone, and Channing Hill rides a great race here, opens up, lets this horse free wheel on the ride. Thought the 5 horse was all locked and loaded around the turn. I look up, and Ricardo was riding pretty hard at the 5/16 and couldn't make any dent in the distance from the 8th pole home.
And Inge from the outside, who I picked, I thought was going to get an easy lead, and it was no chance, and not even close to getting the lead from the 6. Actually, laid 3rd or 4th, made a middle move, but has never passed anybody. Great pick by Jonathan. Round out the exact of the 5. But yeah, gate gate to wire here, and I don't know if that's a trend or not. I thought this horse ran really, really well.
We're going to take a break. Stakes action from Aqueduct when we come back. She's turned into memorable performances already. Can Forgotten Hero make it 3 for 3? The Franklin Square from Aqueduct when we return.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than americasbestracing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. americasbestracing.net is a sport for you. Live it, love it, bet it.
Carpe Diem was a serious racehorse with the physical to match. A debut maiden special weight winner at Saratoga, he beat the Graded Stakes winner Ready for Rye, and he was named a TDN Rising Star that day.
Sean, he was brilliant. At 2, I loved his race in the Breeders' Futurity. I also loved his race in the Bluegrass. When I saw him in the paddock, he looked absolutely stunning. This horse has it all. Looks, brilliance, class. I can't wait to his 2-year-olds to hit the racetrack.
Smiling Tiger's progeny continue to dominate with Cruel Intention following up his stellar debut with a win at the Golden State Juvenile, and Grade 1 winner Spiced Perfection, who's earned over $622,000. And Graded Stakes winner Ace Korea, 30 winners from 59 starters and 10% black type winners in 2018. California's #1 first crop sire in 2017 and California's #1 second crop sire in 2018. Smiling Tiger. Visit SmilingTigerStallion.com for more information. It pays to be Calbred.
Fox Sports Saturday at the races on Fox Sports 2. It's brought to you in part by the champion Eclipse Award winner, Runhappy. 3-time Grade 1 winning millionaire, was a perfect 7 for 7 in his career sprinting. Now standing in legendary stall #1 at Claiborne Farm. Stakes race coming up next for 3-year-old fillies at Aqueduct in Ozone Park, New York, and a couple of undefeated 3-year-old fillies go head-to-head in the 3 Stones in the Road. She'll be facing Stakes Company for the first time. And Forgotten Hero, who is 2 for 2 in her career. She just won the New York Stallion Series back in December. Post parade coming up. Field of 6 will go postward, and we start with Wadadli Princess, who stumbled out of the gate and made up a ton of ground to get her maiden win last out.
Yeah, Jose Loscano will now get in the irons for Patty Kelly, who's really an underrated trainer, this filly by Drosselmeyer.
10-1, right at her morning line. Here's Maiden Beauty for Gary Contessa with Manny Franco.
Took the blinkers off last time, and maybe the class relief of getting out of Stakes Company helped with a good second.
Undefeated, 2 wins by more than 10 lengths for Stones in the Road, trained by Jeremiah Englehart.
Bustin' Stones keeps pumping out nice New York breds, and here's another one, 10.5 lengths in combined wins in the 2 wins.
Forgotten Hero, she is undefeated as well. Perfect 2 for 2 for John Toscano Jr. with Mike Luzzy.
How about that? Going from main special weight to win a $150,000 stakes race is tough to do. That's why she is 7-5.
Quietude. She's a daughter of Tapizar, won the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile. She was a winner 2 starts back in the mud.
She's been behind a couple of these. She won last time out, but she's got to make up a ton of ground, and this race is going to have to fall apart.
And Flush on the outside for Kieran McLaughlin. Showed a ton of talent start #2, but she was all by herself on the lead early.
I know she was, but I thought there was a ton of talent there. They paid $180,000 for her when she was a youngster. She has to be 2-time winners, which is tough, but I think she's talented enough.
Well, this race will kick off the cross-country pick 5. No pressure, Andy Serling.
Well, we already know that I like the one Wadadli Princess, and I talked about her as my best bet. But I want to talk about some other runners in this race, because even though there's only 6 runners, other than the 5 Quietude, who would be one of the all-time biggest upsets, all 5 of the other runners have a real chance in this race. I want to start by talking about the horse that's going to be favored at post time in all likelihood. Based on multi-race bets, the 3 Stones in the Road is going to be favored. And while visually you're going to watch this race and say, wow, look how good she looks. She gallops off to win by 6+ lengths. Well, what she did was take advantage of riding an extraordinarily strong bias. There was a strong inside bias at Aqueduct for just a little while early in February, and she was right on the rail. Quietude, who finished distant second, improved, in fact, to be second, riding that golden rail. And Stones in the Road is what I like to call a dressed-up horse. She's not untalented, but she's not nearly as good as she looks on paper, and I think she is meeting tougher foes today, and she's meeting a horse with more speed as well. Now, the 6 Flush is an interesting player in this race. Flush didn't run that well first time out, but frequently horses will need a start in their first start. She came back her next time and she blew a field out of the water. How good this race was remains to be seen. She was the only horse that ran this race out of the 6 runners that had started before, and the second place finisher came back with a moderate third place finish today. But still, Flush won and won easily, and from a buyer speed figure standpoint, she ran far and away the fastest race. She figures to sit a good trip stalking the 2 speeds, and I think she's very dangerous. Forgotten Hero, though, in my opinion, is the one to beat. She has a lot of speed, and they're going to all have to run hard to keep up with her early.
All right, Andy, thank you. Back at Oaklawn very quickly. It was Sol Pise, the winner, and trained by Alan Milligan. That is a 1,000th win in his training career. So congratulations to Alan Milligan, third-generation horseman, getting the win with Sol Pise, $31.40, and a great pick as well from Jonathan Kinchin.
Yeah, and the other part about this is like Channing Hill, underrated front-running jockey. When he gets on the front end, he's a very good, patient jockey, and he did a great job with that horse.
We're going to take a break in the action. Stones in the Road, the 3 filly coming up in the Franklin Square. Little unsettled we just saw on the racetrack. Leading up to the start of this Franklin Square, we'll see if she settles down when the gates open. We'll be back with stakes action from Ozone Park right after this.
Warfront has sired 8 champions and 10 millionaires. Recent Grade 1 winners include Homesman, Fog of War, Lancaster Bomber, and European champion U.S. Navy Flag, plus 2019 Kentucky Derby hopeful War of Will. He's also sire of the highest price yearling sold in North America in 2018, and international super sire on all surfaces and all fronts. Warfront, standing at Claiborne Farm.
I was hoping when we entered this horse in the sale that I would come up here and be in My Name's Happy and have the first Runhappy that hit it out of the park. We're ecstatic about it.
He's just a natural athlete. He's got length. He's got good substance to him. He's very correct. He's got a very free, effortless walk. Very intelligent, good mind. This is the horse we brought here to make a sound.
Runhappy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Fox Sports Saturday at the Races is brought to you in part by America's Best Racing, the go-to site covering the sport and lifestyle. Visit americasbestracing.net today. Stakes action from Aqueduct coming up next as we begin the load here for the Franklin Square. Gary, you mentioned Stones in the Road, the 3 filly. Didn't love what you saw from her on the racetrack.
No,
What'd you see?
When we were off camera, Rajiv Mirage had her away from the pony, had her away from everybody else, and she was refusing to go. She looks better going in the starting gate right now as we see her. Obviously, Rajiv had a talk with her and got her mind back on racing, but I didn't like what I saw 5 minutes ago.
Well, she is undefeated. She steps into the gate, daughter of Bustin' Stones, and of course the 4 Forgotten Hero. She is the one to beat. Perfect 2 for 2 as well. Stakes winner last time out for John Toscano Jr. It's the Franklin Square from Aqueduct here on Fox Sports Saturday at the Races. John Imbriel with the call.
They're all in. And they're off in the Franklin Square Stakes.
And Stones in the Road comes right out of there and goes right to the front. Stones in the Road is the early leader with Flush racing in second. Then it's a length and a half to Maiden Beauty, who now moves up from third. Forgotten Heroes on the outside in fourth, with Dodley Princess next in fifth, and Quietude trails the field in sixth. Stones in the Road leads here by a length, the opening quarter in 22 and 4/5 seconds. Flush on the outside is second. Maiden Beauty down at the rail running in third. Then it's Forgotten Hero who's fourth, 3.5 from the lead. Wadadley Princess, and the trailer is Quietude. The leader is Stones in the Road, who will take the field to the top of the stretch. Stones in the Road, 3/4 of a length. Flush on the outside in second. They turn for home now, the half in 46 seconds. Stones in the Road, Flush on the outside. They're moving for the 8th pole. Stones in the Road has a 2.5 length lead. Flush is second. Wadadley Princess has now moved into third. Stones in the Road is going to make it 3 for 3 in her young career. Stones in the Road, a front-running score under Rajiv Mirage. It was close for second between Flush and Wadadley Princess, and the time was 1 minute 10 and 3/5 seconds.
Stones in the Road, little unsettled before the load, but apparently got it all together during the running of the race. He is now 3 for 3.
She was plenty happy going into the gate. She was plenty happy when the gate opened up, and racehorse time right there, 1:10 and change. Rajiv Mirage had his hands full early on, just trying to contain that speed. Full of horse coming into the stretch, Paul.
Yeah, you could see as soon as Junior Alvarado hit Flush the 6, she had enough. She was so tired chasing this filly, now 3 for 3, and she might have got popped by second. That was a good choice by Andy, especially at that price. Very tight, might be with that last bob, but no doubt about the winner. She's 3 for 3 and got some quality.
Well, she's quick too, Andy. She got some pressure from Flush, and she easily put that one away in the end.
That was an extremely slow pace given the times we've seen earlier today, and don't want to take anything away from the winner, but obviously the race was dramatically changed to start. You see the 4 Forgotten Hero kind of unsettled in the gate. She doesn't break and gets bounced around. Forgotten Hero is considerably faster early based on her previous races than Stones in the Road. When she doesn't break, and I'm sure Gary is well aware of how important the break is, when she doesn't break, Stones in the Road finds herself loose in the lead in an extremely slow pace, and it just gave her an insurmountable edge. Frankly, Wadadley Princess ran an amazing race to get up for second, considering the moderate pace. But the winner is undefeated. I'll be betting against her next time she runs.
3-1, 6-2, Stones in the Road, 9-5 in the Franklin Square. Well, price is coming up momentarily. We're going to head back down the Derby Trail next week. And America's Best Racing asking, which one of these upcoming Derby points races are you most looking forward to in the coming weeks? The Fountain of Youth Stakes will be on our show next week. Going to likely see the Breeders' Cup Juvenile winner, game winner back in the San Felipe, the Tampa Bay Derby, or the Rebel Stakes out at Oaklawn. Make your voice heard. Check in with America's Best Racing to tally your vote. We'll take a look at that a little bit later in the show. Well, Fountain of Youth, Code of Honor. Brilliant first time out for Shug McGahee, and he looked even better in defeat in the Grade 1 Champagne. He tries to get back in the winner's circle next week.
The blistering fast, stakes-winning star by unusual heat, is now a leading freshman sire in California. After a career of 5 wins and 4 placings in just 11 starts, his progeny are delivering, with 3 winners from just 6 starters, including Lakerball, who posted back-to-back stakes wins at 2 tracks in open company in just 3 weeks.
Lakerville is a rising star in the California breeding shed. His first crop are very precocious and show exceptional speed.
Lakerville, standing at Harris Farms. It pays to be Cal-bred.
They're off. Bet the horses anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets. Rushes out of there to take the lead. It's easy on your computer or Naira Bets app. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Sign up now. Get a $200 new member sign-up bonus. Use promo code LIVE. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NairaBets.com.
One of the things I like about Runhappy is he's one of the more athletic sires that I've seen. He's clearly passing that on to his offspring. He's really sampling the foals, and they're starting to look a lot like him.
Well, this horse comes from a great sire who was just so talented, and we've wanted to buy one ever since we started looking in November.
16.5, bargain bank 250,000.
And then you add a sire like Runhappy, and then you put a physical on the ground like that baby, and you know, for us, it's a must-have.
Runhappy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
He's bred to lead. His name is Commissioner.
Elliot, I can't wait to see the Commissioner foals run this year. He was always one of the best foals we had. He was always one of the best yearlings we had. He was a maiden special weight winner at 2 at Saratoga. He went on to be a multiple graded stakes winner, and he's the last classic place son of AP&D.
Let me tell you, they looked the part at the sale. He's by AP&D. He's got a bottom side to boot. He's got every chance. I'm really excited about this crop.
Watching Fox Sports Saturday at the races on Fox Sports 2. It's brought to you in parts by Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual, unusually well. Stakes action in the books back in New York. Stones in the road. Now a perfect 3 for 3. And Gary, when the 4 Forgotten Hero did not break all that well, it's become a lot easier here for this filly?
Way easier. I mean, right away, Rajiv sees out of his peripheral vision that she's been left probably shuffled back, so he doesn't have to use any of the gas early on that he would normally want to use. He's able to save that until the quarter pole gets a relatively, well, not relatively, very easy lead, and really only had to sit and wait and let her sprint home the last quarter of a mile.
You know what I want to ask you is, he had ridden the 3 and the 6 in both starts. So now, when you're in front of the other horse, he obviously picked the right horse knowing the 3. When you know you got the goods on the 6, are you relaxed even more, Gary?
Well, that's the first time that I've seen Stones in the road run.
Yeah.
And she is quick, very quick, and she obviously listened to Rajiv when he was taking a hold of her, and he was able to contain that speed. She wasn't rank, and when he turned her loose, she responded, and I'm sure he felt something different than that, than the 6 filly last time he rode her flush.
As you see right there, that was the first leg of the cross-country. Pick 5 in there, so Stones in the road kicks things off. And as we've seen the last couple of weeks, we're going to have this cross-country pick 5 on each and every show through March. Just takes one price to really explode and get up there and be a big, big number. So I hope you got down in the sequence and play along each and every week. By the way, Team Penny Racing, Jeremiah Engelhart, Rajiv Mirage, your winning connections. Get signed up, get started, play along as well with Naira Bets. Earn a $200 new member sign-up bonus. Enter the promo code LIVE at sign-up. When you bet $200, you will get $200 at any track, anywhere, anytime. Join at NairaBets.com or download the Naira Bets app. Well, back in 1998, Bob Baffert had a second go at trying to tackle a Triple Crown with Real Quiet. In the end, it was denied by the man sitting right next to me. Let's take a look at Victory Gallop in the 1998 Belmont Stakes.
20 years in the waiting, 1 furlong to go, but here comes his rival, Victory Gallop, as they come to the final 16th. Kent DeSormo imploring Real Quiet to hold on. Victory Gallop, a final surge. It's going to be very close. Here's the wire. It's too close to call. Was it Real Quiet or was it Victory Gallop? A picture is worth 1,000 words. This photo is worth $5 million.
One of the great finishes, one of the great calls in Triple Crown history. Did you know immediately?
Yes, I had a really good idea that I'd won. I was hoping I did because I figured they were going to take Real Quiet down if he didn't win the race, and they would have burnt that place down. So I was praying that that I did hold on and win the race. And it was an odd deal, you know. In the Preakness when I rode him, Elliot Walden had told me to try and keep him close to the pace. Alex Solis had ridden him in the Kentucky Derby. He said, I want you closer in the Preakness. After the Preakness, I said, Elliot, the only way we can beat this horse is if we take him back, make one run with him. What I saw in the Preakness when he made the lead, Victor Gallop started wandering around. He started looking at the crowd, listening to the noise, started pulling up, and I made another run at him. And I said, if he does that at Belmont Park, going 1.5 miles with that big ocean out there and all the screaming people, and he pulls up, I've got a shot of beating him. And it turned out to, it worked in our favor that day.
Second largest crowd at that time ever to see a Belmont Stakes. Over 80,000 on hand to see it. And as well, and a little twist of irony, year before, of course, you were on Silver Charm. You were denied Triple Crown by Touch Gold. Did it feel, was there anything involved in that? Did you feel like a little payback at all, or no, that's always going to sting?
No, actually, it was bittersweet for me. I'm very close friends with Mike Pegram, the owner of Real Quiet, and he'd given me a ride to the hotel, believe it or not, the night before the Belmont Stakes. And When I walked out in 1997, Chris McCarron was the last one of all the jockeys in the Belmont Stakes to wish me luck. And 98, we all wished Kent good luck. And I think in the bottom of our heart, we all wanted to see a Triple Crown winner unless we could be the one to beat him. And that's, we were hired gunmen on the day. I was an assassin when I walked out there, and I was hoping that I could get the job done. But it was bittersweet at the end of the day.
And that DQ you were mentioning about, stewards have actually come out and said that if you hadn't won that race, they likely would have DQ'd Real Quiet. A couple of bumps in the stretch in that race, and you're right, that place would have burned down to the ground. Very like, can you imagine that? Triple Crown denied via DQ. We head back to Oaklawn. Maiden special weight coming up in Hot Springs, Arkansas at 6 furlongs. And right now it is Get the Goodies on the outside. First-time starter for Steve Asmussen, who's favored.
Yeah, and it's not an easy place to win with first-time starters, especially with the way this racetrack looks like it's playing so far today. You can see it, you'll see it come up here in a minute, but it has turned into a little bit of a peanut butter field there. It gets sticky when it's drying out, gets heavier, and he is drawn on the outside where he's not going to be getting a lot of kickback early on, so that's an asset, a big advantage for Get the Goodies.
My only worry about Get the Goodies is, why are we working out at Louisiana Downs? Were we looking for something there? Now, the horse size is a Kentucky bred, not a Louisiana bred. I was looking at that. Why weren't they working at Oaklawn? Were they trying to get away from rain? That worries me a tiny bit.
Well, Paul, Steve's got such a huge stable nationwide. He keeps a lot of his horses at Oaklawn Park. A lot of his horses, I'd say, the real home base is Louisiana, or is the fairgrounds during the wintertime. And I saw him do this time and time again last year with the maidens. He was shipping them back and forth. You look at the maiden, what they're running for here. This is $85,000 pot, $83,000 purse. They're only running $43,000 maiden specials in NOLA. So this makes sense. They like this horse. They stuck him on a van. It's an easy trip for him to get from NOLA to there.
Listen, the other Masperson horse, the 5, is working out at Louisiana Downs as well.
Well, Jonathan Kinchin, he gave us a 14-1 shot back in race 5. We want more, Jonathan. Let's send it out to Jonathan Kinchin.
Absolutely, yeah, we're here at Oaklawn Race 6. You mentioned Steve Asmussen's horse, Get the Goodies, on the outside. Steve Asmussen going for his 600th win at Oaklawn Park in this race. He's got 2 shots to do it. Unfortunately, I don't like either of those horses. I like the 7 horse, Adari, and also the 8 horse, Fleeter Then. I thought Fleeter Then had an excuse last time. If you looked at the last race, he was bet pretty heavily against a filly by the name of Lady Apple, who was a short price horse for Steve Asmussen. And when a horse takes money first out like that, I definitely pay attention to it. These maiden races have a lot of clues that you can find on the tote board. This tote board is a little bit tricky at the moment. The Will Pays and the Daily Double and the Pick 3 don't really lead you to too many horses that are taking a lot of money. And it's another good example of an opportunity to get away from a favorite from Steve Asmussen. So for me, my top choice is going to be Adari. I thought the last race you could toss was going 2 turns in the slot. It's starting to dry out. I wouldn't call this necessarily sloppy, but then you're also cutting back a little bit to the shorter distance. I think that could help. But the race 2 back, that horse was the best of the speed. It was in a 3-horse duel, 3 horses dueling on the front end, and that horse was the best of the speed, kind of stuck around, and I think that's a great angle to bet horses back on when you can find a horse who was expending a lot of energy early in a race, but then now they're going to come back and hopefully they can get a little bit of an earlier situation. Brad Cox's horse, the 4-horse, Annie and Caroline, taking a little bit of money. Brad Cox, obviously up and coming trainer, became very friendly. We learned a lot about him prior to that with Monomoy Girl. But he's been cold at this meet, so I don't think I'd be interested in taking the 5-2. The 7 Adari for me is my top choice, and then I'm going to use the 8 Fleeter Then underneath. Back to you, Greg.
Jonathan, thank you. Never hurts to go with experience in a race like this, and the 7 Adari is the experience of this field at 5-1. But we go back to the 4, Annie and Caroline, Verrazano filly, and the Dam actually has already produced a multiple stakes winner and a Group 3 winner in Market Rally.
Yeah, and listen, the pedigree goes on and on, like in this whole field, but like Gary said, sometimes experience will pay off, and it could pay off here.
Race 6 from Oaklawn Park. 4 first-timers in the field, including the favorite on the outside for Steve Asmussen. Vic Stauffer with the call.
They're at the post. They're off. Get the Goodies and Adari with Fleeter Than. Fleeter Than and Get the Goodies, 1-2. Adari in third, then Annie and Caroline and Solcombe Town, followed by Veracruz, and the trailer is Black Velvet. Match racing up the backstretch, Fleeter Than and Get the Goodies. These two from their outside 2 gates are 1-2 now at the rail. Get the Goodies outside and Fleeter Than at the rail. Solcombe Town is third and about 2.5 off the lead. Annie and Caroline just inside of her. Adari is fifth with 4 lengths to make up. Veracruz has 6 to come. And the trailer is Black Velvet. The battle up front continues. These two been trading punches since they sprung the latch. Fleeter Than at the rail. Get the Goodies to the outside. Get the Goodies half ahead in front. Annie and Caroline is third. She's only 2 off the lead. It looks like it'll be these 3 top of the stretch. Get the Goodies and Fleeter Than, and first-time starter Get the Goodies is now a 1.5 lengths, make it 2, make it 2.5 lengths in front. Fleeter Than is left back in second. Annie and Caroline, Veracruz up into fourth. It is Get the Goodies to pour it on a 16th out. Annie and Caroline trying to get into second. Get the Goodies in front. Get the Goodies got the money by 7. Annie and Caroline second. Fleeter Than third. Veracruz finished fourth.
First-time starter in a pay stool up front with a filly who'd already started once. She puts that one away and gets the win.
Yeah, remember her name, Get the Goodies. This filly, she broke like a bullet from the outside. Rated for Ricardo Santana just off the pacemaker, the 8-horse there, and responded like a good thing coming in the lane. She's still green. She swapped into her left lead early on in the stretch, back to her right lead. Wouldn't say she necessarily likes that whip, but I like the looks of what we just saw there, guys.
I would think 3 Chimneys is pretty happy. They bred her, and then she went through the ring, and they got her back. And Philly by strong mandate, not a ton of pedigree, but she ran like she's got a ton of talent. And like Eric's saying, I think there's way more in the tank.
Is there an Apollo curse for the Kentucky Oaks? Remember, Justify didn't debut until February 18th. This was her debut. It was pretty remarkable. First-time starter gets the job done. We're going to take a break in the action. When we return, we have more coming up from Oaklawn Park. Trainer Ron Moquett, he's got one of the fillies to beat coming up in the Down the Dusty Road. Georgia's Reward makes her 4-year-old debut. We'll bring you Ron Moquett's story as well. And, of course, Tampa Bay Derby winner Quip. His first start back since the Preakness ahead.
Town Thoroughbreds, home of California's #1 living stallion, Grayson, sire of the furiously fast Tough Sunday.
Tough Sunday in front. He's tough any and every day.
As well as S.Y. Sky.
S.Y. Sky at first asking.
And Enola Gray, a resounding victor on both turf and dirt.
Enola Gray, they would need to sprout wings to catch her.
Grayson, California's #1 living stallion, standing at Town Thoroughbreds. It pays to be Cal-bred.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than americasbestracing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. americasbestracing.net is a sport for you. Live it, love it, bet it.
Welcome back to Fox Sports Saturday at the races on Fox Sports 2. It's brought to you in part by the champion sprinter Runhappy, 3-time Grade 1 winning millionaire, retired sound, 100% medication free, broke track records at Saratoga and the King's Bishop, action in the Breeders' Cup Sprint at Keeneland in 1:08.2. How about this win for the Hall of Famer Steve Asmussen, his 600th victory at Oaklawn Park alone with the first-time starter. Get the goodies.
You know, I've got to apologize. When Paul was talking about her working at Louisiana Downs, I was just thinking, she's been working at the fairgrounds. Well, not the case here. She had been working at Oaklawn Park, shipped to fairgrounds, had 2 workouts over there, and then shipped back into Oaklawn Park. Whatever it did, she's a runner, and we're going to hear more from this filly. Get the goodies.
Yeah, and you know what? Granddaddy is Tiz now. Grandmama is Macho Uno. So she can get a little bit more distance. And Asmussen, usually horses get better second, third start, so she could be scary.
First-time starter that had a little pedigree runs behind her as well, and Annie and Caroline. And Fleeter Than, making her second start of her career, gets third.
What were you noticing here, Gare?
When Ricardo hit her right-handed, she shied in a little bit. He hit her one more time. She goes back to her left lead. She's not loving it. She needs a target in front of her. And this filly, she looks like she wants to run further than 6 furlongs to me. And she had her ears up as soon as she found herself on the lead. She was kind of in no man's land. Asmussen, when he works his horses, most of the time they work in company. So it figures that when she hits the lead on her own for the first time, during a race with a crowd probably of about 25,000, 20,000 there today, she's going to look around a little bit, but she still went on about her business.
I'll say it again, don't count her out yet. It was 5 days ago last year that Justify made his debut. Maybe asking a lot, I kid, but you never know. Let's take a look at the points leaders for the Kentucky Oaks as we continue along the road to the Derby and Oaks. And of course, it is the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies winner, who's one of the leaders on this list, but Serengeti Empress for our colleague Tom Amos top in that list. She was impressive last weekend. But Jaywalk for John Service, they're going to try and map out the same path that they did with Catherine Sophia back in 2016. Devona Dale next, then looking to go to the Ashland.
It's February 23rd now, right, Gary? So we still got a little ways to go. And a lot can change in, what, about a month and a half or so?
Yeah, about a month and a half. But the one thing I've noticed over the years, at least my personal experience, these 2-year-old fillies that are good as 2-year-olds, when they're big, they're robust, and they look like runners, they tend to hold their form a little bit better than the 2-year-old boys do, transitioning from their 2-year-old to 3-year-old years. So this late start and it's not even a late start, but for Jaywalk, I wouldn't worry about it. I think, never mind about the points, she is the legitimate leader of the 3-year-old.
We got 10 weeks, a little bit of time.
Okay, 10 weeks.
A lot of time.
I agree. Listen, the toughest thing to do at horse, and correct me if I'm wrong, is to get a horse, listen, they're herd animals, is to get a horse to break away from other horses. And the way she strided away with those big, long strides, like Gary was saying, she's going to be impressive. And I gotta love her coach. She's a beautiful
She ran
horse.
faster than Game Winner did on Breeders' Cup Day.
Wow.
So impressive performance. She did a gate to wire.
Hey, and what about the job? Joel Rosario, he's riding the Game Winner, the last year's 2-year-old champion, Jaywalk. He's also riding Hidden Scroll that's going to run in the Fountain of Youth next week for Billy Mott. We haven't talked about him a lot either.
Did you guys lose sleep over these kind of decisions?
No, you leave it up to your agent. That's why they make the big money, 25%. Ron Anderson, good luck on that one.
We're going to talk some Hidden Scroll later in the show. Here's our post parade for the 9th at Aqueduct, $12,000 claiming race. We're up to Malibu action in here for Timothy Hills.
I like this horse a little bit. Shows a little speed and will drop, so that speed might increase a little bit. And you get your price, 6 to 1.
I see Avila sends out Too Fast to Pass, 9-year-old.
Old California horse. Used to be in the Peter Miller barn, now 9 years old.
Long shot Francis Freud has not won in a long time.
Well, at least the last race was a little encouraging considering her other 3 before that were really bad.
Drummer Don comes in from Parks for Chris Engelhardt.
Seems to run a good one, then a bad one, then a good one. The last one was sort of an even run race.
Look out. Jason Service sends out O'Shea, Can You See, and brings speed.
If this one's win, I might as well just hit myself right in the head.
Javelin, the A, Dylan Davis. And another one with a little bit of pace.
You know, good win, 2 back, and maybe empty the tank a little bit. Last time got off to a bad start. This horse has got a good shot at 5 to 1.
Professor Snape, this is the morning line favorite, 4 to 1 right now.
Cut back from a mile to 6 furlongs, and I thought ran well. You know, a lot of these people project horses dropping. This is the horse at the level that's in form.
And Bitumen taking play, 8 to 1 morning line down to 7 to 2 for Bob Glaceris.
You know, Bitumen, to me, and the 9 Professor Snape were not too far off form. That's maybe why they're probably almost the same as Price.
Get signed up, started, play along with the Naira Bets app. Whether you're watching from home or placing a bet while out on the town, bet, deposit, watch, wager, and hopefully win with the Naira Bets app, available in the App Store or for Android on NairaBets.com. Racing.com. For more on this nightcap from New York, let's go to Andy Serling.
It's a fascinating race, actually, and at least on paper, there projects to be a reasonable pace. You're looking at the 7, O'Shea Can You See, who's supposed to be one of 3 possible pace setters. The long shot 58 OG, the 2, has speed. The 7, O'Shea Can You See, this is 2 races back on a muddy but harrowed racetrack where he basically had the run of the race and got it done, stalking a moderate pace and winning. That was a big figure and a figure that would win this race, but it's unlikely to be the same circumstances. Did not run well in a subsequent start, and he drops precipitously. Now, Jason Service, he's a dangerous trainer and a tough guy to bet against, but I think this is a very vulnerable horse because he's supposed to face pressure. Not only does 58 OG have speed, but also outside of him, the 9 Professor Snape. So he's in that uncomfortable position of a speed horse that's going to be between horses potentially in a potentially honest pace. Professor Snape, the 9, ran well last time. He was outside. The rail was the place to be. The winner was the favorite. Came up the rail to beat him. Professor Snape's a player. Of the speeds, he has the right post being outside of them, and I prefer him. But I think it all could really set up for the number 10, Bitumen. Bitumen is a horse who, last time out, he was in that spot where he had to be closer than he wants to be. He had to be right on top of the pace, and the pace was fairly moderate, and Lazarus Project, who won, this is the 10 Bitumen I'm talking about, Lazarus Project was able to wire the field, and that Bitumen did fairly well to finish second. Today, he gets that pace that he needs. So I think he's the horse to beat. My long shot selection is the 6 Drummer Don. If they really get heated up front, this is a horse getting a very interesting rider change to leading rider Manny Franco that could maybe come running at the end. A little 10-6 for me, closing it out.
And there you see all our analyst selections. Paul Jonathan agreeing with the 3 Malibu action, getting 7-1 on that runner. Want to remind Naira Bets members can now participate online in the Big Money Handicapping Challenges hosted at Naira Tracks. Registration open now for the Gotham Challenge on March 9th with an estimated $18,000 in prize money up for grabs. Register now at naira.com/challenge as we get set for this 9th race coming up, and that is the 5 horse here getting an adjustment. That's the long shot Francis Freud, currently 46-1 on the board.
Yeah, just make a little adjustment there. Looked like they were probably scooting the saddle up a little bit for this jock here, and you see the vallet's tightening up the overgirth right now.
You ever pull this as a trick? I always
No.
looked at you and Mikey sometimes, maybe, hey, tell somebody to back somebody out of the gate to maybe load back in or get reset or like any kinds of little tricks.
No, matter of fact, I hated taking horses to the gate. If I didn't like the way the saddle was sitting on a horse, especially on a filly, you take them up there early sometimes and they'll get a little rattled and they use up a lot of unnecessary energy. And a lot of times I just say, you know what, I'm going to take my medicine, and if they're good enough, they'll get the job done. But I didn't like messing with a lot. I know a couple jocks, I'm not going to mention any names, that weren't afraid to take one to the gate and get the weight off for 4 or 5 minutes. But I think that's overestimated as well. You're talking about horses from, you know, 800 pounds to 1,100 pounds, and if they can't carry that 115 pounds around for, you know, an extra 5 minutes, they're probably not good enough anyway.
Well, again, the 9 Professor Snape, who was favored in here, little cool on the board, and maybe a result of that is some of that speed Andy talked about. The 2 has speed. The 3 Malibu Action has speed. Also, O'Shea, can you see the 7 with speed?
The problem is like, you look at these type of races, and more times than not, horses are dropping from 25. This is the 12-5 level. 25, 35. We always look at those horses going, oh, they're going to improve on the drop. But we always forget about the horse like Professor Snape, who's at this level 8 and 10, and he's been hard knocking right there at the wire. So we're projecting all the other horses to improve, yet he consistently puts up the right number. And is that number going to be big enough to win this race? And he's not getting respect at the window.
And that horse who snuck up the rail and beat him last time out, T Loves a Fight, that's a horse who owns a victory over a really talented sprinter, Weekend Hideaway, in his past performances.
Well, the T Loves a Fight that beat Weekend Hideaway may not be the T Loves a Fight that beat Professor Snape last time. I'm thinking they're going to be moving up front. You never know what's going to happen when the gate opens, but there is plenty of speed signed on in this race. We'll see if it develops on the racetrack.
Bitumen goes in. They're in the gate. And they're off. Malibu Action tries for the lead. There goes 58 OG up the rail in second. Length and a half back to Too Fast to Pass in third. O'Shea Can You See is fourth. Moving up on the outside, that's Professor Snape. We come a length and a half back to Javelin. Far outside the Bitumen to the rail, Francis Freud. Regalian, the trailer is Drummer Don. Three-way battle now on the front end. Malibu Action between horses. Outside Professor Snape to the rail. 58 OG backs out through an opening quarter. A fast 22-3. Professor Snape grabs the lead from Malibu Action. O'Shea Can You See has moved up. So has Bitumen, who's just moved into third. Then we come back to Javelin, who's back in sixth. Too Fast to Pass. Francis Freud, Regalian, and the trailer still Drummer Don. Professor Snape has wrested the lead away from Malibu Action, who comes right back at the rail. These two have put 3 lengths on a closing Bitumen, who's storming down the center of the track under Junior Alvarado. Malibu Action regains the lead. Professor Snape is back in second. O'Shea Can You See coming late. Bitumen as well. Regalian from way back. Malibu Action refusing to lose, digs in and wins by a length and a half. Tight photo for second. I think it went to O'Shea Can You See over Professor Snape. Tight for fourth as well. Final time for 3/4, 1:10-2.
Malibu Action gets the job done here in the 9th from Ozone Park for Timothy Hills. And that is the 4th win of his career.
Good pick, Paulie. And this 3-horse Malibu Action makes the lead under his own will. You saw the 9-horse rushed up there. Professor Snape paid the price at the end, and smart ride.
Yeah, it was. You know, when he went left-handed, Malibu Action really acted and sort of regained the lead on the 9. It sort of hung Professor Snape and was waiting. O'Shea Can You See rounded out that exacta.
One of our feature races here, the Grade 3 Hal's Hope 1-turn mile for 4-year-olds and up. Running for a purse of $100,000. Quick look there at the field. Wow, Coppertown, your favorite right now. Our post parade brought to you by OCD Pellets, celebrating over 10 years of supporting the equine industry with their 2-in-1 bone and joint supplement. Go to OCDpellets.com. Tale of Silence went by off since May of last year. Here's Fellowship for Kenneth Decker.
70-1 last time and ran a shocking third. Now 14-1 today.
Breaking Lucky, trained by George Weaver. Luis Saez rides.
Dominant 2 back. And then last time, sort of got stuck behind horses. Was probably the best. A little surprised he's not your favorite.
Quip was your Tampa Bay Derby winner from last year. He last raced in the Preakness. He's been off since.
He'll make his 4-year-old debut, and he gets Jose Ortiz in the irons. He's getting bet a little bit here at 4-1.
Long shot Mr. Jordan, sent out by Eddie Plisa Jr. with Chuck Lopez.
2 for 10 the last 2 years to worry. 1 for 18 at Gulfstream Park.
And this is our favorite right now. Coppertown, he had a brilliant return to the races as a 4-year-old. 2 tough starts since.
Well, the clockers must have been out in the morning. This obviously is a morning glory play. Now, 8-5, cannot endorse on paper.
Sir Anthony, he's actually taken a little play here. He's won 4 in a row, including a Grade 3 on a sloppy racetrack.
Yeah, he has, and maybe he's getting overlooked. Listen, horses that have won 4 times in a row are in good form, so maybe he's a horse that can round out a Trier Super.
And Todd Pletcher with the favorite in the 7. He also sends out the 9, Prince Lucky, John Velasquez aboard.
Yeah, winner of the Easy Goer last time and 3rd in the St. Barton. Both at big prices, so he's 4 for 8 lifetime. It seems like he's an overachiever.
Coppertown, the 7, your current favorite. Can he reverse his form from his last couple of starts? Let's send it out to Acacia Courtney and Bob Newmeyer.
Thanks. We certainly will find out if Coppertown can reverse his form. And Bob, looking at this race on paper, I think you said it best that this Hal's Hope looks like a complete grab bag.
I mean, like anything can happen, kind of like throw a dart and see what happens. Yeah. They're coming from everywhere. I mean, we've got Florida breds, we've got Pennsylvania breds, Illinois breds. Horses have been off 200 days, up and down we go, and I think it is a grab bag, and I'm shocked, to be honest with you, that Coppertown, somebody had to be the favorite, and this horse is.
Somebody had to be the favorite in here. I personally thought the favorite was going to be Breaking Lucky in this race, just given his last couple of races. Did you like Coppertown at all in this race? What shot did you give him?
Well, I picked Coppertown begrudgingly, and the only reason I did, Acacia, is because I have no excuse the last time he ran here in the slop, other than the slop. But 2 back, he was the 2nd choice in the Grade 1 Cigar Mile. Mendelssohn was the favorite. Mendelssohn didn't run very well, but neither did Coppertown. Awful break. blocked, bumped, steadied, everything under the sun. So I'm going to give him 2 excuses for his last 2 races. Maybe he can run back this time.
He was actually really fractious in the gate last time out. He's a very big horse. He gets very warm before the races. I took the other Todd. I went with Prince Lucky. He's off the layoff. I like him going the 1-turn mile. Quickly, what do you think about Quip, your Tampa Bay Derby winner?
Well, Quip is interesting because he's been off for a long time. Yep. Rodolphe Brisset is a former French jockey. He was apprenticeship with Belmont for over 10 years. And Quip, of course, won the Tampa Bay Derby last year, second in the Arkansas Derby. So this is a bit of a freshening for Quip. We'll see what he's like. He's highly touted. Jose Ortiz up. I know Rodolphe Brisset, this isn't the race he's really looking for. But he's here, and I think he's a legitimate 3rd choice in this race.
And I spoke to Rodolphe the other day. He did tell me they were going to plan from this race on and see if he wants to stick at 1 turn or if they want to try to stretch him out once again. But he's a tricky horse. They're loading in the gate. We'll see what happens in the Grade 3 House Hope. Here's Pete Aiello.
5. As Breaking Lucky, who is the 2-1 second choice, moves in. He's got the R.A. Hill colors on today. Quip is ready. Prince Lucky to the outside. Prince Lucky and John Velasquez will complete the line. They're in the gate. Racing in the House Hope, and a bobbling beginning for Coppertown, and now he's bounced around. So Coppertown slow into stride, but he's moving into high gear now. He'll challenge Quip for the lead. Out wide on the course, and Prince Lucky back at the inside and Breaking Lucky. He's sent along here by Louis Saez. He wants some forward position. The pace is quick early. Then it's the almost white Mr. Jordan, who's racing in 5th, 4 clear of Fellowship. Then Sir Anthony and Tale of Silence is last. The opening quarter, quick enough, 23 seconds flat. From between horses, Coppertown has a neck on top. Quip is second toward the rail. Prince Lucky a 3-wide third. Breaking Lucky is 4th behind the speed, racing 2.5 lengths off the lead. Back to 5th and Mr. Jordan. 5 more to Fellowship. The 2 lingering at the back, Sir Anthony and Tale of Silence. The opening half mile was racehorse time, 45 seconds flat as they round the far turn. Prince Lucky bidding up 3 wide at Coppertown up front. Back at the inside, Quip begins to drop back. 4 clear of Breaking Lucky, who's passed inside by Fellowship as they run to the top of the stretch. Coppertown, Prince Lucky, Pletcher horses kick on with it as they move to the top of the stretch with a 1/4 mile left to go. Johnny V hasn't moved his hands on Prince Lucky. Toward the inside, Castellano working overtime on Coppertown after 3 quarters and 109 and 1. They wheel in. It's a Pletcher showdown with 1/8 mile to go. Fellowship tries to spoil the party with a late run down the stand side, but Prince Lucky is winning the battle with Coppertown, and he's going to win the House Hope. It's Prince Lucky and John Velasquez moving clear in the end. They'll win by 5. Second, Coppertown. Quip is 3rd. Up 4th was Tale of Silence and a picture over Sir Anthony. Then Fellowship, Mr. Jordan, and Breaking Lucky wound up last.
Stable mates for Todd Pletcher throwing down the stretch, and in the end, Coppertown sets things up for Prince Lucky.
Yeah, Coppertown, he got jostled around at the start, and jostled around pretty hard, and then rushed up, made the lead, Quip down inside of him. He was done early at the half-mile pole. Meantime, Johnny Velasquez on Prince Lucky, he must have been licking his chops going down the backside. Had a nice hold of him. He found a nice rhythm and really started extending himself, and huge first out for him in 2019.
Yeah, huge first out. You're right. Nobody really fired in here. The 3 Breaking Lucky. So you look at the start, it was really not much there. The 3 broke fine. The 1 broke fine. So there's no doubt about it. The 9 was the best in here.
Yeah, Coppertown, he went to his knees and ducked in.
Yeah.
And then just flat ran off with Javier Castellano, and his race was done early on, believe it or not.
Now, in the end, Prince Lucky, his last performance was a win, but it was all the way back on Belmont Stakes Day in the Easy Goer. This was actually his 4-year-old debut. If he can put up this kind of performance off the bench like that, what are we going to see from him going forward?
Yeah, and obviously something must have happened to him to be off that long, but he's come back, and just black letters all over the place. You saw bullets at the Downs for Todd Pletcher, and we're going to see a lot.
I really think this horse is an overachiever. Look at the pedigree. He's a Corinthian out of a Great Notion mare. I think this horse is just an overachiever. He's been 10-1, 14-1, 71 in the Todd Pletcher barn. That doesn't happen much.
So it's Prince Lucky, for Todd Pletcher. Standing by with a winning trainer. Let's go to Acacia Courtney.
Thank you. Yes, I'm here with winning trainer Todd Pletcher, in fact, with the Exacto. Tell me what you thought of that performance off the layoff for Prince Lucky.
We've been training very well. We love the post position draw outside, gave him options to just kind of, see how the race unfolded. But, I was confident that he's training well enough that it made sense to give a graded stake a try instead of an allowance race.
And do you think you might stick with one turn for him?
Well, I think he has the ability to stretch out. I know that they have a similar race on Florida Derby Day, so that'd be going a mile, so that'll probably be our next target. But just happy to see him come back well off the bench.
Well, Todd, thank you so much. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thanks. Back to you guys.
Okay.
So Prince Lucky, impressive performance off the bench for the win. He's now 5 for 9 in his career. Big effort, though, too, considering that rough start for Coppertown.
Yeah, and, the easy goer, not an easy race at Belmont Park, mile and 16th, one turn. And I look forward to seeing him stretch out to 2 turns later on this summer, guys.
Well, more to come from this son of Corinthian, we would hope, down the line here for the Todd Pletcher barn. Meanwhile, back in Aqueduct, Paul LaDuca, Jonathan Kinchin, they both like the 3 Malibu Action, 2160 for the victory.
And Merritt pick 5, 2800, and there you go. A pick 6 carryover. That's going to be about $55,000 for all you Sunday players. And if you had 5 out of 6, you get $407. But Malibu Action, son of a Malibu Moon out of the crafty prospector mirror, easy action. Now 4 for 27 lifetime.
Did you play the cross country pick 5?
No.
Paul LaDuca. By the way, Siegel Capital, Carlos Hernandez, Timothy Hills, your winning connections. There's our price that we need. We still got a long way to go. So this cross-country pick 5, over $83,000 in the pool, already shaping up to be a very nice payoff as we get into our Oaklawn sequence. Races 7, 8, and 9 will close out the cross-country pick 5. 7th race, mile and a 16th. It is a $50,000 starter allowance. And in this spot here for Secret Passage, the 7, it's a horse who comes from way out of it. He's going to need some pace help up front.
Well, he is. I mean, last time he broke from the 10 hole, he was 9th out of 10 and made up a ton of ground. Now, muddy racetrack, is there enough speed in here for him to run down? There's some scratches in here, but you do get the Pinson, the 2, the Pinson, the 3. Chris and Dave's got a little bit of lick, but is there enough lick for his late kick?
And obviously, no 2 off tracks are the same, but he has one on the sloppy going, did that at Belmont last summer. Secret Passage we're talking about, who's our 3-2 favorite. Let's check in with Jonathan Kinchin. I'll try and get back to Jonathan. Shortly here, some technical difficulties. But 8-5 right now on the one we were just talking about, Secret Passage, who tried to run down MG Warrior last start. He wound up second. MG Warrior actually had won 4 or 5, and he'd been running so good they actually put him in the Razorback.
It's a good effort. I mean, he's rolling down the middle of the racetrack, but again, these type of fields, they're bunched up at the end. How really good is this? He starts getting really, I guess, short-strided there towards the end, or strided out actually towards the end, but it's a good effort. He's going to need some pace.
Well, if I was Jonathan Kinchin, I'd probably just drop the mic and walk off. He just gave us another $21 winner. Let's go back to him real quick.
Hey, I can give some prices. I can give some chalk as well. I'm going to give you the chalk here, the 7 Secret Passage. I'm actually sitting next to the owners. The guy standing right here, he guaranteed they're going to win. So it's pretty simple. Back to you, Greg.
A guarantee. Wow. Lucky Dog Stables, Fitch Racing Stable, trained by Robertino Diodoro. That works for me. The 7 Secret Passage, they are confident. Vic Stauffer with the
They're
call.
off. Pinson has asked for speed, and Chris and Dave's going to take the lead. Pinson tries to deny him, though, and these two really match race into the clubhouse turn. They're going very fast. Imperative and Casino Star are next. Secret Passage draws to the rail, and the early trailer is St. Louis Guy. Pinson will take the lead from Chris and Dave, who now relents and sits second, so Pinson's in front a half length. Chris and Dave is second by a length and 3/4 to Casino Star and Imperative. They're right together third and fourth and 2 off the lead. St. Louis Guy puts his red blinkers into fifth. He's about 4 from the front, and Secret Passage is at the back of the pack. 6 lengths first to last. Pinson, the leader, over Chris and Dave. Pinson, 3/4 of a length. Chris and Dave continues to gallop outside him and pressure in second. Casino Star, Imperative at the rail, and a 3-wide St. Louis Guy. They all make up that third flight, and 3 from the front. Secret Passage is still at the back of the pack. He's got 4 lengths to make up, and there goes Chris and Dave outside of Pinson. Pinson responds, though, and holds that neck lead. Chris and Dave is second, a length and a half. Casino Star comes with his run. Secret Passage has moved up to 5th, now about to get into 4th, and he's in the black cap. If he's got a way through, he could be the one at the top of the stretch. Here's Secret Passage, and he's going to move through at the rail with a very big run. Here is Secret Passage all the way up to challenge Chris and Dave for the lead. To the outside in Casino Star. Pinson, any one of 4 can win it, and Chris and Dave has taken the lead now. Secret Passage battles at the rail. Casino Star to the outside. Chris and Dave now clears. Secret Passage and Casino Star second and third. It is Chris and Dave in front. Chris and Dave won by 2. Secret Passage second. Casino Star third. Pinson finished 4th.
Chris and Dave, an off-track specialist, picks up another victory here, and this is first off the claim for Federico Villafranco.
Yeah, and no excuse for your favorite right there, Secret Passage. I mean, he got the Secret Passage coming through on the fence, and Ricardo Santana takes charge from the outside, having another good day. Might have an inquiry here. The 2-horse had to study ever so slightly with Ramon Vasquez aboard inside the 8th hole. He falters back to 4th place. No harm, no foul as far as I can see, because the winner, Chris and Dave, draws off and wins by 3 at the end of the day.
Yeah, you're going to have to see a head on there. I don't, you know, it's tough to tell, but you're right. The 7 had a great trip in here, and Chris and Dave just had a ton left here at the end. And Federico Villafranco, who took Oaklawn by storm about 4 or 5 years ago, keeps winning races. But we'll see if the stewards take a look at that stretch run.
Unofficially, 3-7-5 finish. So we'll see if there is change there behind our winner. Chris and Dave, though, 6-year-old son of Bluegrass Cat for Danny Caldwell. And again, off the claim for Federico Villafranco, getting the win. Ricardo Santana Jr.
I think that Ramon Vasquez's goggles might have been a little bit fogged up, because Santana ran by him so quick at the 16th. he stood up before he got shut off.
And there's the inquiry and objection sign up involving your winner and the 4th place finisher. So 3-7-5-2 finish. This one not in the books just yet.
Yeah, it's not. And we haven't seen a head on. We haven't seen anything. You're seeing exactly what we're seeing. So when we get a view, we'll hopefully show you a view.
Santana Jr., the leading rider each of the last 6 years here, reached the $1 million mark in earnings just 16 days into the meet. Wow.
He is a hard worker, continues to improve. You know, you could say sour apples, jealousy. I don't see that. I spent the summer with, or the winter with him in the jock center. Here was getting a head-on shot coming into the stretch, and not going to happen until about the 3/16 pole coming up here. And you are going to see the 3-horse drift over here, and you're going to see the 2-horse red helmet cover. Things tighten up a little bit, but
was a jockey trying to sell that on the tour, or did he have to legitimately set it?
Believe me, it looks a lot closer at 40 miles an hour out there when you're on hills than it does watching on TV in slow motion. And guys got to protect themselves. I'm not blaming him for standing up and protecting himself, but a lot of times it's over with before it happens, and this is one of those cases. But in saying that, he's going to get an earful when he comes back. Hey, come on, man. Ricardo, just keep them straight. You're on much the best here. They don't need to take you down, and I don't think he should come down. I think he was enough to bet. But you can see the 2-horse Pinson. His front legs are actually in between the hind legs of Chris and Dave when all this stuff is going on here.
Oh, and here's the pan view. So you're looking at the 3 right-handed stick here as well from Ricardo Santana Jr. As a result of that, horse ducks in a little bit. Could that play a factor?
Yeah, he's shying away from the whip a little bit, and he doesn't stop whipping him until after he crosses over on the 2. The question is, did it cost him a position?
Yes.
He was probably fading back to 4th place anyway. I don't think it did cost him a position, so I don't want to get into stewardship here right now. I'm going to play the jock that's sitting in the jock's room right now with the rest of the guys who didn't ride the race. Say, leave him up, but give him 5 days. He's going to appeal him anyway.
Tough, though. I mean, you're going to say you're going to break a horse's momentum to say where he may have finished. I mean, you're sort of...
It's a tough call. That's a tough rule for the stewards. That rule is just so...
I feel like...
You can't explain it. They're in a position, basically, to somewhat fail because it's a thing where you're projecting where the 2 is going to finish, and you can't project that.
No, but he was going the wrong way at the time that it happened.
Yeah.
Anyway, well inside of the 8th pole.
All right, we'll keep you posted if there is a change. Unofficially, 3752 inquiry and objection at Oaklawn. Meanwhile, back at the Grade 3 Hal's Hope at Gulfstream, Todd Pletcher runs 1-2. Prince Lucky hadn't raced since the Easy Goer June of last year. Wins off the bench. Coppertown winds up running second despite a very difficult break.
Yeah, and this horse, I mean, Todd Pletcher's got the arsenal at his hand. He's able to take his time with these horses, develop them, and he's got maybe another superstar in the works here.
Yeah, it's gelding by Corinthian out of the Great Notion mare. Lucky Notion now 5 for 9 last time. Johnny V aboard. It's a Todd Pletcher Exacta. That's going to return about $64.60 that you can leave at the teller.
By the way, no change at Oaklawn. That has gone or will go official shortly in a moment. Prince Lucky, $17.60 for the win. 5 wins now and 9 career starts. And there it is back at Oaklawn. No change.
You know what? Quip didn't run a bad race because he was stuck down inside of Coppertown, down the backside, getting the squeeze put on him a little bit. Backed out of there at the half. I hadn't even realized that he had held on to run 3rd there, so really not a bad comeback for Quip either.
There's a young rider we're talking so much about over the last couple of weeks, Ricardo Santana Jr. He is running away with this meet. It would be the 7th in a row for him. He is a superstar on the rise. We're going to take a break in the action. We'll look ahead to the Fountain of Youth on the Derby Trail, looking like a loaded field coming up. Bourbon War. Hidden Scroll could be a star in the making for Juddmonte and Belmont, Nashua Stakes winner Vacoma, and more. That's when we come back.
They're on. Bet the horses anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets. Rushes out of there to take the lead. It's easy on your computer or Naira Bets app. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Sign up now. Get a $200 new member sign-up bonus. Use promo code LIVE. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NairaBets.com.
Mastery retired undefeated, winning his 4 starts by a combined 20 lengths. A 6-figure September sale purchase he won impressively in his 2-year-old debut at Santa Anita. From there, he captured the Grade 3 Bob Hope Stakes and completed his juvenile campaign with a dominant performance in the Grade 1 Los Alamitos Futurity. At 3, the top-rated son of Candy Ride sizzled in the San Felipe. Now his much-anticipated first crop arrives in 2019. Mastery, standing at Claiborne Farm.
This one is by Tappet and is a brilliant Grade 1 winner.
Elliott, of course you're talking about Constitution. He was a TD and Rising Star in his debut. He became an undefeated Grade 1 winner when he won the Florida Derby in his 3rd start. And in the Don Handicap as a 4-year-old, he ran a 111 Beyer speed figure, which is still the fastest Tappet around 2 turns.
And don't forget about his allowance race when he beat Wicked Strong and Tunnelist. His first 2-year-olds have every right to be fast.
You're watching Fox Sports Saturday at the races. Great to have you with us here on this Saturday afternoon on Fox Sports 2. It's brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. Are you up for anything? You want to visit americasbestracing.net for the latest and greatest. Back at Oaklawn, we had an inquiry and objection. Chris and Dave's connections holding their breath, but in the end, victory upheld. Federico Villafranco off claim for Danny Caldwell and Ricardo Santana Jr.
Right call?
And I hope the owners of the 7 bet to place as well.
Definitely the right call, I think, Paul. Best horse won today. Secret Passage, no excuse at all. That got a good ride, got through at the key point of the race, and just wasn't good enough.
And I think this horse will pay a little bit better in your cross-country pick 5 follow along. I know there were some scratches in that race, but 9-2 on the morning line, and you got a $21 winner. Hopefully you're still alive. 2 more left.
It's a long way to go in this sequence, but yes, if you are alive, we wish you all the best. Coming up next, feature race out at Oaklawn. It is the Down the Dusty Road Breeders, $100,000 purse fillies and mares, 3 and up right now on the outside favored. Miss 51st Street for Al Cates, who said she is very glad she's actually drawn outside. She's been relaxing a little bit for Ricardo Santana Jr., who will be in the irons. Of course, the morning line favorite was Georgia's Reward for trainer Ron Moquett. Want to remind everyone to get signed up, started. Bet with Naira Bet. You'll get that $200 bonus. Use the promo code LIVE to get signed up and started at Naira Bets. But back to Georgia's Reward. This will be her 4-year-old debut. She's already a stakes winner at this racetrack. How deep is trainer Ron Moquett's love of horse racing? Well, his home quite literally is the racetrack. A health scare landed him in isolation in the hospital last year, but it hasn't slowed him down at the barn one bit at all.
When I was growing up, thoroughbred racing that we saw on TV was most reasonably attained through us through Oaklawn. I share property with Oaklawn, and when they run past between the 5/8 and a half mile pole, you run past my yard. If I would be home during the races, then it's like Jurassic Park in your glass of water when they run by. You can literally feel the horses run by. Yeah, I wouldn't trade that for the world. Last year, I was at home because of me being diagnosed with an autoimmune disease, and I couldn't be around people. Now it's just managing it and figuring out what you can do and what you can't do, and I can be around all the horses and do all the things I need to do. I may not go to the World Trade Center and hang out or Empire State Building, but I'm, avoid crowds of a lot of different people.
You'd probably rather hang with the horses than people anyway.
10 times. I love horses. I'm not so good with people. The best story I could say, I was very sick and I was at home, so I couldn't come to the races. And I stepped outside when my horse was running, and Whitmore in the Count Fleet, and he's a local horse. Everybody likes him. He's cool to root for because he's a closer.
Whitmore's last right now. Whitmore at the quarter pole is 6th and last.
I could actually feel the crowd screaming.
Ow! Whitmore explodes in the center of the track, and look at him fly. Whitmore has to go, and he did. Wow! That is a major league stretch run.
My best moment in racing, and I wasn't even at the track, but my close proximity made it awesome. This is definitely my dream. There's nothing, I could do other things. I'd probably be better at it. I tell everybody that the only thing you have to sacrifice to train horses is sleep and the willingness to take vacations. I could do a lot of things, and I choose to do this because it's the best thing there is.
Oh, that's a great story there. Of course, Whitmore, that was a bucket list win for him in the 4-go last year. All the jockeys have a little experience with that home he has there at Oaklawn on the racetrack?
Yes, we do have a little experience with that home at Oaklawn Park at the 5.5 furlong pole when you're, especially early on in the day when you're warming up in sprint races and you go by the half-mile pole, there's a yapping dog that just goes nonstop. And we'll light a 2-year-old horse up, a first-time starter when you're in the post parade. But yeah, when things got quiet with that dog is when Ronnie was sick last winter. Out there, and he was out there in the yard evidently. I didn't know this, why that dog got quiet. I thought maybe somebody turned it loose, but not the case. It was him babysitting the pup in the backside.
Well, great to see him get a Grade 1 win at Saratoga. Hopefully many more to come in the future. We're going to go back to Gulfstream. We have the Texas Glitter still ahead.
Yeah, and that's Georgia Rewards. Last time she ran in the Rainbow Mist, and she ran a giant race that day. She's trying to get back to that same, you know, I guess form as you see Gulfstream race number 12 up for the Texas Glitter.
Yeah, 5 furlongs on the turf here, and a purse of $75,000. 3-year-olds running on the grass. Even money on stand-up for Todd Pletcher, and this one actually still a maiden, but gobbled up a ton of ground in a debut after getting out of the gate awfully slow. Here's our post parade. We start with our boy Bodie with Jose Ortiz aboard.
Yeah, good second place finish last time out in the mud, and 2 dry track efforts have not been that good.
Here's Jackson at 6-1.
Terrible effort last time, but 2 back, a nice little win in the juvenile sprint at Gulfstream Park West.
Rusty Arnold sends out Half Shot.
33-1, big long shot.
5-2 on Yes, I Am Free from Mark Cassie.
Yeah, surprised him and Mr. Barber at 9-1. They like to bet 5-2 today.
Rapoli Stable and Eclipse Thoroughbred send out Stand Up. Here's the favorite for Todd Pletcher.
This horse got absolutely left and made up about 8 lengths in the stretch. If he can break with the field, he's going to be tough today.
Long shot here has shown dirt speed. Will he show it on the turf as well?
Yeah, a horse that does have some speed, and you're right, it's drawn the inside in his last 2 starts, so maybe the outside draw will be a little better.
Crosstown Shootout, all 3 starts so far have come on synthetic for Ryan Walsh.
Yeah, I'm going to try the turf for the first time. Being a son of cross traffic, you would think they'd try longer and dirt.
Never Have I Ever by No Nay Never, who is a Group 2 Norfolk winner at Royal Ascot.
Yeah, Wesley Ward tried to sneak this one in for $25,000. Jorge Navarro caught him, and now you're getting 10-1 today.
And Gladiator King there on the outside rounds out the field of 15-1. A long shot runner.
202-1 last time the horse ran.
We're going to take a break. Texas Glitter coming up when we return on Fox Sports Saturday at the races on Fox Sports 2.
I was hoping when we entered this horse in the sale that I would come up here and being my name's Happy and have the first Runhappy that hit it out of the park. We're ecstatic about it.
He's just a natural athlete. He's got length. He's got good substance to him. He's very correct. He's got a very free, effortless walk. Very intelligent, good mind. This is the horse we brought here to make a sound.
Runhappy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
They're off.
Bet the horses anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets.
Rushes out of there to take the lead.
It's easy on your computer or Naira Bets app. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates.
Soft got to turn with a length and a half lead.
Sign up now. Get a $200 new member sign-up bonus. Use promo code LIVE. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NairaBets.com.
Mr. Big, Dynaformer's leading sire in California, whose progeny have consistently achieved success early in their careers, like Big Break.
Big Break opening up 5, 6, 7, can win it by as many as she likes in the end.
Big Score.
Here's Big Score with giant strides late. Big Score, an excellent W.
And Big Book.
Big Book running on Festival. Big Book's gonna win it.
Number 2 on the cumulative lifetime active sires list, second only to Tap It. Think Big. Mr. Big, standing at Harris Farms.
We are back. Fox Sports Saturday at the races on Fox Sports 2. It is brought to you in part by Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual unusually well. Let's send it out to Gulfstream Park with Acacia Courtney.
Thanks, Greg. We do have a very exciting race coming up in the Texas Glitter, going 5 furlongs on the turf. And Bob, standing here trackside, it looks like they're just betting this is a 2-horse race.
First of all, she won the last race at 7-1. She has all the money in the world right now, so they're following her up to the windows, and it's cash city for Acacia, believe me. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you. Very
yeah, it looks like a 2-horse race on paper. We got speed in Yes, I Am Free. We've got that great closer who if you like replays, watch stand-ups. I mean, flew late, just missed with Todd.
And what do you think about a horse that's a maiden that closed like that, and then Todd Pletcher, who already has 3 wins today, by the way, decides to put him right into stakes company?
Well, stand-up is a hunch play for the marvelous Mrs. Maisel and old standbys like Jerry Seinfeld and Ellen DeGeneres and Chris Rock and Gary Shandling, on it goes. Stand-up comedy, yes, one of my favorites. Tough to do. You're really talented if you can pull it off.
Oh, absolutely. Sometimes you feel like in broadcast you might have to be a little bit of a stand-up comic as well, I'm sure. But, I mean, this horse was beaten by Yes I Am Free. And Yes I Am Free, I thought, dueled the entire time. He never had a breather out of that race.
Yeah, the figures are so-so with this horse, but I still like it because in 5 furlongs on the turf, I want speed. I want front speed. So that's why I'm leaning towards Yes I Am Free over Todd's Bullet, but the fans love stand-up in this race. At last check, he was like 4 to 5.
He's a short price right now, and we'll see if he can turn the tables on Yes I Am Free. By Uncaptured, a versatile stallion for trainer Mark Casse. Jackson also looks like he might have a shot with some speed, but it looks like maybe we're not going to be too clever in this one.
Well, Todd's already won 3, so can he win 4 with the big favorite stand-up? That is the question. You can see that gray streak coming from out of the clouds.
All right, here's Pete Aiello with the call of the Texas Glitter.
Yes, I Am Free. Pink Silks of Gary Barber. Last 2 up are Gladiator King and Never Have I Ever. Never Have I Ever walking up. That leaves Gladiator King to the outside. The Texas Glitter is up next as they wait on Gladiator King to the outside. Renegade. And they're off in the Texas Glitter. Never Have I Ever and Yes I Am Free. They're the first 2 out, while Stand Up is back to last. On the outside, Gladiator King takes 3rd. Our boy Bodie is racing from 4th. Back to 5th and running for Riz. Then comes Crosstown Shootout, racing ahead of Half Shot, who's 3rd last. Stand Up is 2nd last, and Jackson is last of all as they speed to the far turn. Less than 3 furlongs to go. The pace is hot and heavy. Gladiator King on the outside. Never Have I Ever is toward the inside. Racing in 3rd is running for Riz. Now racing from 4th, it's Yes I Am Free. Where's Stand Up? He's still an awful long way behind. He's trying to get him rally going here with a 1/4 mile left to go. Off the turn in the stretch drive, Gladiator King comes away with the lead. From the back, it's running on Jackson, not the favorite Stand Up. Jackson's the one who's erupting late. Final 1/8 of a mile. Jackson in the red blinkers tries to get to Yes I Am Free, who just took the lead. Yes I Am Free with the win. Jackson is 2nd. It's closer for 3rd, either our boy Bodie or Gladiator King in 56-1.
Very different from how Yes I Am Free broke his maiden in his debut. Does it from off the pace this time?
He had to do it from off the pace. He did suicidal fractions up early. Big long shot, Gladiator King. Never Have I Ever, the 8-horse, hook up early on. 21-2 was the opening 1/4 mile, and smart ride back there by Irad Ortiz. And I didn't see what happened with Stand Up early on. Was way back. I didn't think he got shut off, but they were blazing early on, and Irad sits chilly, laying 3rd, perfect pocket position, and comes out and picks up the pieces late.
Yeah, you know what? And I think the 2 Jackson might have found a new home on the grass. They've been trying him on dirt, and he's been running well. His other grass effort was good, and he ran a bang-up effort here because this Casse horse, I think, has got a little bit of quality with back-to-back wins. And I'm with Gary. The 5 got shut a tiny bit off Stand Up towards the end, but the big gray never fired.
Yes I Am Free. 2 starts, 2 wins for trainer Mark Casse, owned by Gary Barber, and Irad Ortiz Jr. taking over this afternoon for Tyler Gaffleone, who won that debut.
Look at the run, like you were talking about Jackson, Paul. Strong lead coming down the lane, running a little bit green. Splits horses here in a tight hold. They're starting to walk the dog. This might have been a better than look performance, passing some horses that were just getting wobbly-legged from going so fast so early. But yeah, Jackson might have found a new home. And Yes I Am Free already had a home on the turf.
Back at Oaklawn, our feature race from Hot Springs, Arkansas, the Down the Dusty Road Breeders, purse of $100,000. Fillies and mares 3 and up, and this is where we're going to see the Ron Moquett filly, Georgia's Reward, make her return for her 4-year-old campaign. We start with Fashionista blinkers coming off for Tim Martin.
They're trying something here. 0 for 9 in the last 2 years, and that's why she's a big price.
Firewater Rocket. She's probably seen enough of Georgia's Reward, although she did finish ahead of her once.
Well, she lives up to the second half of her name. She's going to be probably the one to catch.
Very quick. The 3 Superstar B's been off since July at Canterbury.
Yeah, this is the one that Jonathan likes from off the pace. There is some speed in here, but this horse is tactical.
7-year-old mare Easter Indy. She won this race in 2016 and 2017.
Maybe a dangerous horse at 14-1. 5 out of the 6 wins at Oaklawn.
Jinx Fires, we saw him send out Gray Attempt in the Southwest last week on our show, or on Monday, I should say, on President's Day. Sends out Jerry Bella here.
Maybe the opposite here. 0 for 11 at Oaklawn for this mare by Portobello Road.
Usual Suspect, the 6 for Carl Broberg. One first time out at Oaklawn against considerably easier.
The most lightly raced filly in the field, but she needs to improve.
And Georgia's Reward. Here's the Moquett filly who already won a stake. Here's a 3-year-old back in March of last year.
Well, against Arkansas bred, she's 2 for 3. She tried Open Company at Keeneland, and it was a sloppy racetrack, and she failed, but now she's the favorite today.
Euro Me, one last time out. 7-1.
This horse was giant, got dead left, and ran down a weak field. Needs to improve today.
And Miss 51st Street, she was actually 3rd in this race last year. She's quick.
Al Cates is a very, very good conditioner. And here's a horse, all 7 races have been at Oaklawn, so this is her home, and she's 3 for 7.
She had a long layoff, but it was not due to any kind of physical issue. She was off from April until January 26th of this year. They kind of had this race circled all along, opted to wait to get back late in the year and prep for this one. Let's send it out for more to Jonathan Kinchin.
Hey guys, the favorites here, the 7 Georgia's Reward, the 9 Miss 51st Street, taking a majority of the money here. Both of those horses coming in off of long breaks. I don't typically love that. The 9, obviously, Miss 51st Street had a start since then. It wasn't that impressive. I went elsewhere. I landed on the 3. Superstar Bay. I thought that horse, if you look back at her form in April, she broke her maiden by like 8. Since then, she's been in the exacta in every start. She got a little bit of a break. From all accounts, she's been working really well here, working with really talented horses as well. I love when you can find a horse that's working in the morning with other really good horses. So because of that, it's why I landed on her. And just because of the break that you see with the 7 and the 9, I just don't like taking short prices on horses that you don't understand. You don't know what to expect from them. And like I said, Miss 51st Street, she had that struggling. She was 9-1 last time. In the last start, and just wasn't that impressive. And so I'm not really interested in taking her at 9-5, or excuse me, 3-1. So I landed on the 3 here, Superstar Bay. Like Paul said, she is tactical. I'm hoping she'll take back a little bit, save a little ground, and then produce one run as they turn for home. Any other horse in here that I thought might be a little bit interesting was the Usual Suspect. First time for Broberg. Obviously, Broberg wins a lot of races down in the South here. Remington, Lone Star, so on and so forth at a big price. He's obviously one that you would want to consider. But I'm going to try to beat these two horses that are being bet, the 7 and the 9, with the 3. Superstar Bay. Back to you.
Well, the other filly, Jonathan was talking about, the 6, that is Usual Suspect. And she actually faced Georgia's Reward as one of the favorites in Firewater Rocket's second start of her career. They threw her into a stakes race. She didn't get out of the gate well. Didn't run all that bad. So we'll see with a clean break today. She comes in off the bench as well. Long layoff if she can have a better showing. 21-1 on the board.
I remember this filly from last year. I actually rode against her in the stakes race, rode against her in the maiden race as well that day. And she does have some talent. And as you mentioned, going to Carl Broberg, worth looking at here.
And by the way, real quick, track has been upgraded from muddy, now listed as good at Oaklawn.
She had gone to Prairie Meadows in Iowa, which could be a speed favoring track, although she broke dead last in that day, and she just did not run. So maybe she can fire at a giant price here. Georgia's Reward runs her best race. She's going to be very, very tough in here.
So feature race from Oaklawn as they load up. There goes Firewater Rocket in the gate, and a very quick daughter of Macho Rocket there again. We mentioned she's finished ahead of Georgia Reward once, but Georgia's Reward has beat her on 2 occasions, including her debut. So she makes her 4-year-old debut here this afternoon for Kellen Gorder. But Ron Moquett, we showed you that great piece on him, had that big win, bucket list victory in the Forego this past summer. With Whitmore, he's got a very talented 4-year-old filly. One of the fillies to beat in this spot here, the 7, Georgia's Reward, in her 4-year-old debut here in the Down the Dusty Road Breeders. Here's Vic Stoffer with the call.
They're at the post. Firewater Rocket broke through the gate. Great job of the assistant starter to stay with her. I'll take her around back and let Doc take a look, make sure she's okay. The rest standing professionally like the Arkansas breds that they are. Stakes horses, all of them. You can't rattle an Arky bred.
So the 2 Firewater Rocket broke through the gate. Now we're here. The rider is actually off, and track veterinarian is going to take a look over and make sure this filly's okay before they would reload.
Yeah, you can see the 2.
They're backing everyone out.
Yeah, the 2 was behind the gate. Now they're going to start backing everybody out, Gary. So this means either they're going to, state vet's going to look at somebody, or they're backing everybody out because there's going to be a late scratch.
Well, she might have smacked her nose pretty good there. I'm not going to try and guess what happened there, but I did see the rider get off, and with them backing everybody out, it looks like there is going to be a delay, and we'll wait for further word from Vic to see if she's been scratched.
Well, if she is, she was the confirmed speed of the speed in this field, wasn't she?
Yeah, she tried to get a head start. That didn't work out good. And you can see that Morales has got the tack off. She will be scratched. He's not taking that off to just lug it around right now. You see him walking there. Firewater Rocket's going to be scratched.
I would think the 9 now, I mean, Miss 51st Street's got some speed. Georgia's Reward has won both of her races from just barely off the pace. But you look at the rest of this field, not a ton of speed. Although Jerry Bell, the 5, has shown 22 type speed. That was at Prairie Meadows, but
I think Usual Suspect has the ability. I know she didn't break the last time, didn't show anything, but her first out, she did show some speed and wired him that day. So first time for Carl Broberg, may show some speed.
That's a good price at 29-1? Holy cow.
So late scratch of Firewater Rocket changes completely the pace complexion here of this race. So maybe the 6 Usual Suspect. Certainly the 9 on the outside is quick. Miss 51st Street, as Paul mentioned. But no 2 has changed things in here. With the scratch of that filly, Georgia's Reward, the 7, now the 6-5 favorite.
Yeah, so if you're live and your pick 5 and your pick 4s, you automatically go to the favorite. And it's right now, like Greg was saying, Georgia's Reward. And you would want her probably to sit 2nd or 3rd in here. You don't want to be her too far behind with the scratch of the 2 now. 5, 6, and 9. Look for the outside flow. I think Gary's right. The 6, if the 6 runs her first maiden race at 20,000, 28-1's not looking bad here.
Gary, what's your primary job here as a jockey when you have to go through a delay like this and get backed out of a gate?
It just depends on the type of horse that you're riding. If you've had a horse that's been edgy going to the starting gate, believe it or not, there's been plenty of times that I've had a horse go into the starting gate very tight, very nervous going in there. There's a delay for some reason. Could be a case like this. They back you out. That horse actually starts taking deep breaths and refuels itself, and you're like, got a shot now. Mm-hmm. Or the opposite may happen. You may have one tuned up just right exactly how you want them, because we do warm these horses up. We keep track of how much time there is on the board as far as the post parade, and warm them up accordingly, according to how that horse's temperament is. And I would actually go up to the outrider and say, hey, are the stewards taking time for betting purposes because they're trying to get a pick 5 going or whatever? But they're loading in now, boys.
All right, back in late scratch of the 2. It is the Down the Dusty Road Breeders. Vic Stoffer with the call.
To Firewater Rocket. They're at the post. They're off. Superstar B missed the break about a length. Usual Suspect won the break and goes for the front from Easter Indy, Jerry Bella, and Fastanista at the rail. Ms. 51st Street is on the move, and there goes Ms. 51st Street all the way up to take second. George's Reward and Euro Me move up on the outside. So they run up the backstretch, and the leader is Usual Suspect. She's a length and a half in front of Ms. 51st Street. Fastanista moves at the rail. George's Reward 3 wide, Euro Me 4 wide, and they move as a team. And Euro Me and George's Reward are now second and third behind the front-running Usual Suspect. Easter Indy has 5 lengths to make up. Then Superstar B, Jerry Bella is the trailer, and Usual Suspect is traveling smartly. Usual Suspect, a quarter of a mile from the wire in the 11th Down the Dusty Road Breeders' Stakes. She has built up a 4-length lead. Fastanista is now coming after her in second. George's Reward and Euro Me not doing enough, and Usual Suspect comes to the final furlong, and she is still well clear. Fastanista running a very good race in second and cutting into the margin now. Usual Suspect, Fastanista in second. Usual Suspect, Fastanista, Usual Suspect. Usual Suspect beat Fastanista. George's Reward was third, and Ms. 51st Street finished fourth.
Just enough in the tank for Usual Suspect to hang on, and certainly with the absence of the 2, took advantage here.
Hey, good training job from Carl Broberg. She hadn't been seen since May of last year, and I mean, she made all the pace here. She was getting late. All the warning lights were coming on. The oil light was coming on. It was all coming on. I thought it was going to be a nasty beat, but had just enough left to hold off.
Yeah. This was you yelling oxygen down the lane. Oxygen, oxygen, oxygen on the 6 because she was so much clear. Great call by you, Garrett, that she was going to be the lone speed, and she got brave on the front end. She put everybody away. And you can see the one's not really striding out either. They're both dead tired, but they're both trying their hearts out.
I'll tell you, both those jocks are going to be tired, though. Fernando de la Cruz, he had to start pumping on Fastanista, the 1 horse at the 3/8 pole, and both those guys earned their money.
Back at Gulfstream in the Texas Glitter. Yes, I am free. Now a perfect 2 for 2.
Yeah, and congratulations to Mark Casse and the crew. This is a son of Uncaptured. Yes, it's true, Mira. Yes, it's valid. And again, Jackson's got a home on the turf. I thought he ran a bang up second. 640 to win.
Captured, his sire you mentioned, actually won the second leg of the Canadian Triple Crown, multiple stakes winner on synthetic. But this horse now multiple winner on turf. Let's go to Acacia Courtney.
I'm here with winning jockey Irad Ortiz. Yes, I am free. A different trip this time. Tell me about that performance coming down to the wire.
I got a good break out of there. 5 furlongs is always very good. And got some horses with speeding outside. They go. I can sit there right in behind the speed. And when I tip him out, she was ready.
Just came really flying down and drifting a little bit wide in the stretch, too.
Yeah, I got a horse in front of me. He was looking at it a little bit. But I have some horse. Mark Casse do a great job. And, you know, I just happy to be available to ride those horses for Gary Barber and the trainer Mark Casse.
Leading rider right now at Gulfstream Park. You just seem to really have your finger on what's going on here at this racetrack.
I mean, I just, you know, try to enjoy the moment, and we're doing so good right now, thanks God. And my agent and all the owners and trainers right here, they give me a lot of chances, and they give me the right opportunity. So I just bless and keep doing what we're doing right now.
That's it. You're doing a great job. Thank you, Irad.
Thank you.
Take care.
Well, this is a son of Uncaptured here, out of a Yes, It's True mare that looks like he has a little bit of talent here sprinting on the turf.
Yeah, he does. And like you said, he showed a new dimension from a tiny bit off, which a little bit more of a learning experience. And Irad Ortiz Jr., man, these kids are so talented. Both the Ortiz Juniors.
Yeah, they are. And what about Casse's, Mark Casse, Norm Casse, his brother, and Gary Barber? What they've done the last couple of weeks. Will of Words, he wins last weekend, and now We see this today. They won another race yesterday with another horse they'd bought out of the Arcana sale in France, bought for turf, and that one was by declaration of war. So they are always on a roll, but they've really been on one the last 2 weeks.
Of course, Mark Casse with one of the leading contenders for the Kentucky Derby, War of Will. Looks sensational, winning from post 14 in the Risen Star. Looks like he's going to make a big impact.
Got a chance to talk to him at Pegasus, and he said it's the best hope that he's had for the Derby, and he won with Classic Empire. Now, I think a lot of people thought Classic Empire as a 2-year-old was going to be, okay, here's Mark Casse's Derby horse, but he had a lot of mental issues. When I talked to Casse about this horse, he goes, hey, you know that one that won the Lecomte? That's the real deal, and I take his word for it. He is sharp as can be.
They call him Wow around the barn, War Will. That's how good he is, because he turns heads. You can head over to americasbestracing.net for the Bourbon Bets and Stories contest. You and a guest could win a VIP experience in New Orleans for Louisiana Derby weekend with airfare, hotel, entertainment, and seats at the fairgrounds included. You'll get to see War Will in that race. You'll also get some money to bet with and gifts from Old Smoke Clothing Company and Christine Amore Millinery. Check out americasbestracing.net right now to sign up for free. Just 4 days remaining to get signed up and started. We showed you a poll earlier from America's Best Racing, which Derby prep you most looking forward to in the next couple of weeks. And the public has responded narrowly with the Fountain of Youth Stakes, and that really is a loaded field. A lot of horses coming back, including that Buzz horse, who we'll talk a little bit more about coming up in Hidden Scroll for Juddmonte.
I think they're all loaded.
Yeah, San Felipe
right
looks loaded too.
I told you guys a few minutes ago, well, a few hours ago, I guess it was. Now the San Felipe. I saw Bob Baffert yesterday. Improbable. One of his other 3-year-olds, not game winner, but improbable. I asked him yesterday morning, I said, did he work this morning? He said, yes, he did. He worked 6 furlongs in 1:13 and galloped out a mile in 1:38.3. That's racehorse time. So I'm looking forward to the San Felipe and the Fountain of Youth.
That might win the 6th race today, 1:38.3.
That will be Breeders' Cup Juvenile winner, game winner's 3-year-old debut in the San Felipe. Things starting to get awfully fun on the Triple Crown Trail. We're going to take a break in the action. When we return, we'll preview more. Richard Mandela, the Hall of Famer, getting a little mischief of his own, galloping mischief. Going to debut down the hill. We'll have more on this unique turf course and take a look at Maximus Mischief back in action next.
Tommytown Thoroughbreds, home of Boisterous, a multiple graded stakes winner with earnings of more than $1.4 million and 12 career victories, including the Grade 1 Man o' War Stakes at Belmont Park.
Boisterous roaring up on the outside, and it will be boisterous.
And sire of recent impressive winner, Loudmouth.
Loudmouth, strong at the top of the stretch, turns for home, loaded. No doubt about it, performance from Loudmouth.
Boisterous, standing at Tommytown Thoroughbreds. It pays to be Cal bred.
There's one thing that everybody wants in our game is they want speed. Daredevil has the speed. Did you know that he ran a 107 Beyer when he won the Champagne Stakes, the Grade 1? That's faster than Uncle Mo, Scat Daddy, and Union Rags.
As a 2-year-old, he ran a 96 Beyer when he broke his maiden, a 107 Beyer in the Champagne, beating a nice horse in Upstart. He is by more than ready, another feather in his cap. I can't wait to see these horses run it too.
One of the things I like about Runhappy is he's one of the more athletic sires that I've seen. He's clearly passing that on to his offspring. He's really staying from the foals, and they're starting to look a lot like him.
Well, this horse comes from a great sire who was just so talented, and we've wanted to buy one ever since we started looking in November.
16.5, bargain bank $250,000.
And then you add a sire like Runhappy, and then you put a physical on the ground like that baby, and you know, for us, it's a must-have.
Runhappy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
You're watching Fox Sports Saturday at the races on Fox Sports 2. Great to have you with us. Show brought to you in part by champion sprinter Runhappy. Son of Super Saver now stands in legendary stall number 1 at Claiborne Farm, the former home of the likes of Unbridled, Easygoer, Secretariat, and Bold Ruler. Back at Oaklawn in the Down the Dusty Road Breeders, Usual Suspect taking advantage of a late scratch of the other speed in the race, Firewater Rocket, goes gate to wire for the win.
Yeah, you know, Greg, you asked me when there was a delay, what do jocks do? Richard Aramia, the rider of Usual Suspect, guarantee you right away took into mind that the speed had just been scratched, and he does his homework. Great ride by him. Glad to see him win another race. Super guy, and he had done his homework and he took advantage of the scratch.
Is anyone going to hit this cross-country pick 5?
I don't know, but congratulations. Look at that pick 3. The try was about $1,000 for 50 cents, but congratulations to Mr. Broberg, daughter of primary suspect out of the elusive quality mare, Caparel. Now 2 for 4 lifetime, and there you go. Like I said, Chris and Dave might play it even bigger, so if you're alive in this cross-country pick 5, get it home.
Whew. 1 leg left, race 9 at Oaklawn. You can get signed up, started, play that cross-country pick 5 all throughout March as well. Go to Naira Bets, earn a $200 new member bonus with the promo code LIVE when you go to nairabets.com. Well, each and every week on the show, we have a new feature with retired superstar jockey Rosie Napravnik. She takes us behind the scenes as she retrains racehorses for their second careers. This week, Rosie is aboard Major Dude, fresh off his competition in another edition of Riding with Rosie.
We're out on our first ride since Dude's show. Just a little hack around. Good first day back. Chill kind of ride. Dude did a great job at his show. It was a combined test, which means they combine the score from your dressage test and a show jumping round. And he did very well in both. Did well in the things he's been doing well at home in the dressage, and of course there's always a few things to work on. And then did well in the show jumping as well. We had one little blip, but other than that, he did a great job, and he is moving forward in his training and ready for the next thing. So I'll show you a little bit of his show from this weekend.
Grade 1 winner Lee traveled the world competing against the best of his generation. A graded stakes winner on both dirt and turf, he set a new track record in the Grade 1 Don Handicap and retired with earnings of more than $2.3 million. With yearlings bringing up to $650,000 and his first crop of 2-year-olds hitting the track, the sky's the limit for this promising young stallion. Lee, standing at Claiborne Farm.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than americasbestracing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. americasbestracing.net is a sport for you. Live it, love it, bet it.
Love Acres Ranch, proudly standing multiple Grade 1 winner Stay Thirsty, the leading California sire by earnings whose first 2 crops of racing age are impressing, including Grade 1 winner Mind Control.
Mucho on the outside is second best to Mind Control in the hopeful.
As well as the lightning fast Coal Front, Maryland Juvenile Futurity winner Always Mining, and Argentinian superstar Golden Leaf. Stay Thirsty, the only son of Bernardini standing in California, and introducing Smoke'em, son of Union Rags, now standing at Love Acres Ranch. For the love of the game, it pays to be Calbred.
Happy birthday to Silver Charm, 25th, celebrating an old friend's thoroughbred retirement farm. And what a moment back in the 1998 Dubai World Cup. Derby and Preakness winner. I'm going to show you what happened in that one with my partner right next to me on board. Got questions? America's Best Racing has your answers. Visit americasbestracing.net today.
Silver Charm comes again. This is incredible. Swain is flying. Swain might beat the favorite. What a finishing prospect. Silver Charm and Swain. It's a photo. It's a great photo finish. Who's won it? Silver Charm or Swain on the outside. A truly sensational finish to the 1998 Dubai World Cup.
How in the world did you re-rally here?
I don't know, man. You saw me salute there in that head-on shot just now, and my good friend Mick Canan on the outside, and I was pretty positive that I'd won. Right here, past the wire, I'll give it a little salute here as we come up, and yes. Now I'm galloping back after the race, and on this big screen TV they had on the infield, I'm seeing this finish in slow motion. And I'm watching it. I see it 2 times, and I thought I got beat when I saw it on the big screen. And thankfully, shortly thereafter, they put Silver Charm's name up. But I got to tell you, I saw a deal on Twitter this morning. It was his birthday yesterday, and they had a brand new blanket on him, and he's almost pure white now. And they turned him out in his pasture, and he tended to go over this morning and find the biggest mud puddle he could find. He laid down and he rolled with enthusiasm to muddy up that new blanket there. He was he was a hound dog. I mean, he liked to get down and fight. He loved to battle, and he hasn't lost that. I saw that this morning.
At the time, in that performance, you said he was the greatest horse you've ever ridden. Where does he rank?
You know what? I can rate him as my favorite horse of all time. He was my buddy, one of the best friends that I've ever had, equine-wise. And he definitely was the hardest trying horse that I ever rode in my career. If he could see the horse next to him, the two tough defeats, the two toughest defeats in my whole career were the Kentucky Derby the Belmont Stakes when Touch Gold beat me with a great ride from Chris McCarron. He moved away from him. And then the Breeders' Cup Classic later on in 1998 with Frankie Dettori on Swain. He moved away from him out in the middle of the racetrack, and I tried to go with him so he could see his competition. Pat Daysett back there on Awesome again got through on the inside fence. He never saw him, but he was best that day. And those are 2 races that he lost when I thought that he was the best.
Well, we're going to take you down the hill on a unique turf course here out in Southern California. This 6th at Santa Anita coming up. It is approaching the 8-minute mark to post. 6.5 furlongs down this turf course. Maidens, including Mountain Spirit for trainer Jeff Mullins, who's making his 2nd start on a point of entry.
Listen, I like this horse, and I did going in, but not at 3-5. This horse was almost 20-1 first time out and ran a bang-up 3rd. The first 2 finishers have come back to win since, but I don't know if I would take that. Wait till the odds maybe go up to even money or above, and I don't even would suggest you to bet play this horse at that price.
Our Santa Anita coverage is brought to you by the California Thoroughbred Breeders Association. It pays to be Calbred. With more on this unique course coming up here in the 6th at Santa Anita, let's check in with Michelle Yu.
I'm here at the top of the Hillside Turf Course at Santa Anita, our unique Hillside Turf Course. As you can see, horses start at the starting gate behind my shoulder and go downhill before making a right-hand turn, the only right-hand turn on grass racing in North America. They then continue downhill before making a left, crossing over the dirt of the main track, and then finishing in front of the grandstands. As far as hill race tendencies are concerned, it's generally thought that you don't want the rail, but in the last 6 hill races here at Santa Anita, we've had 4 winners and 1 runner-up finisher come from the number 1 slot. And if you'll notice a little bit of a lighter patch of grass, last night the turf course here was aerated, and that means it was broken up on top to add a little bit more traction for these horsing headed down the Hillside Turf Course.
So this turf course, very unique configuration. Where you line up in the starting gate here, who does it benefit?
It benefits the outside horses. In other words, the horses with the higher draws. And the reason for that is you saw where Michelle was stood there. That was a half mile. She was stood at the half mile pole, a half mile from home. If she would have went straight, or if the horses go straight to where Michelle was, they go over a cliff straight at the grandstand. So a lot of people don't know that right-hand turn, you've got to make a right-hand turn. You can't go straight or you're going to wind up going off the cliff and wind up in the grandstand. So right-hand turn is important. So, in other words, higher draws are an advantage.
Let's check back in with Michelle.
Guys over here watching some of these. Guys, I'm over there watching some of these horses when they were in the saddling paddock. And interesting note on the 2-horse Montana Moon. This horse just ran a couple of days ago, and it doesn't say so in the comment lines, but if you take a look at the race, that horse was completely rank and pretty much ran off right in the middle of the race. So I talked to Shelby about this horse, bringing him back here, and she's hoping that he's going to be able just to kind of go the front and run away like he wants to with those 2 fitness races under the belt. Hopefully that should be better for him. One thing they did do differently today was they saddled him in the box, and that did seem to have a really good effect on him. He was much calmer in the saddling enclosure as well as the paddock, so I'm just waiting to get an eye on him warming up here. The first-time starter, the 3 Galloping Mischief in here. He is teeny tiny for Richard Mandela. Lots of really good works on the main track for this horse, who of course will debut on the turf. But interesting to note that the last 2 first-time out winners from Richard Mandela were both on the turf course. So I think that is interesting to note for him. And he actually did work with his stablemate Taus back on February 8th, and he was much the best of those 2 in the work. So if you're looking at Taus, you really have to take a second or third look at Galloping Mischief. And my paddock pick, guys, has to go to the 7 in here, Voluble, from the barn of Gary Mandela. This is a horse that was favored last time out, and he's sitting at 7-1 right now. I mean, this horse just looked tremendous. He always has, but he has had trouble in both of his races down the hill. Both of those races have been extremely formful, bringing out really good horses, but he's going to have to put things together. But from a look standpoint, you couldn't get much better.
So 3-5 favoritism on Hall of Famer Richard Mandela's first-time starter, Galloping Mischief. He also sends out the 5 Taus, and of course, his son taking him on, Gary Mandela, with the 7 Voluble on your screen right now.
Yeah, and Voluble is a horse that first time out ran a bang-up race, got left at the gate, and then the next time out didn't break that sharply, but then Joe took the horse way back and then got steadied. So the 7 to me could be a threat here at 7-1 from off the pace. Taus, I mean, Richard Mandela, he's pulling all the tricks out. Blinkers off, Lasix, but he usually does pull the right strings.
There's a horse I was interested in and who Michelle was making comments about, Montana Moon for Shelby Ruiz and Kent DeSormo riding back. He was ranked last time, going 1 mile and an 1/8. Kent rides the horse back today. If you've got a horse that's ranked going long, the easiest way to get him switched back off and relaxing again is to run him off the hillside turf course, because you're going to get other speed up in front of him. So look for Montana Moon to be making a late move.
He'll break from post 2. Of course, Shelby Ruiz, the daughter of Mick Ruiz, who campaigned Bolt Doro, who gave us one of the great Triple Crown preps from a couple of years ago against McKinsey, who was one of Baffert, thought to be Baffert's main Kentucky Derby contender until Justify came along. Back at Oaklawn, race 9, condition claiming race here, and it'll be contested at 6 furlongs. The remaining half of the entry. 1 Son of a Chief, the one to beat right now.
Well, I think that's a giant, I guess, no pun intended, sudden impact, the 1A, who I thought was going to be the horse to beat by far, is scratched, and they leave the 1 in. So I would think Robertino Diodoro has got plenty of confidence. He had this horse for 1 time in his barn, ran a bang-up second, and now David Cohen is back on. So maybe the board's telling you the 1's going to be very live. You know, he's the number 1 in post position, but he's going to break from the 12 hole. Well, not the 12 hole considering the scratches, but he's going to break inside the 13.
And, of course, the 7 Chip Van Winkle, trained by Cecil Burrell, older brother of Hall of Fame jockey Calvin Burrell. This will be his first starter he sends out in 4.5 years. Let's go to Jonathan Kinchin.
Hey, guys, this is a tough race. The favorite, I think, right now is listed at 5-2. It's a lower-level claiming race. Obviously, those races, a lot of barn changes, a lot of drops. It's hard to predict what's going to happen there. I like the 2, the 4, the 5. I like a bunch of horses. I ultimately picked the 5. think the 2 is interesting for Norm McKnight. Doesn't have a ton of speed in the past, but now he's got a new trainer. He's drawn inside. I feel like that's going to kind of force his hand, put him into the race a little bit more. We've seen that here at Oaklawn this year. Those inside horses don't really have a choice. They're not going to take back, eat a bunch of dirt. They're going to try to send away from there. Gary could probably speak to that a little bit better than I could. The 4, Wildcat Shoals, I thought was interesting. Closing going 5.5. I think 5.5 is a much more speed-friendly trip. And this horse was closing into that off of a break. I think he could improve. He was super wide last time. Pretty good price, too, at 18-1 right now. But ultimately, I landed on the 5, Storm Inside. I thought Storm Inside's was dropping from 30 to 10. You actually guys had seen him out in California. He was in Tim Yachteen's barn. He came out here with Ingrid Mason, ran on a sloppy track. His last 3 races have been on off tracks, and he hasn't really run well there. This racetrack is not sloppy anymore. I think it's listed as good. It's harrowed. It looks just fine. I think that he could be a little bit interesting. He's a big price, too, at 7-1. The 13 on the far outside is one that's going to impact the pace situation a little bit with the 2 drawn down inside. I think both of them are going to could set it up a little bit for the 4 or the 5. Ultimately, I went with the 5. Good luck.
All right, Jonathan, thank you. He mentioned the 2, Pat Daddy. So that horse has the rail. This horse has made 39 career starts. He's only been on dirt twice. He's won them both.
I love it. You called it 30 career starts. Shows all of them on his past performances at Woodbine. But he's raced 1 time on a fast racetrack, dirt fast racetrack. That was a win. 1 time on a wet racetrack, dirt racetrack. That was a win. He's a win machine. He's been there. I don't mind the 1 hole. Never did mind the 1 hole last year, drawing down inside there as long as you got away halfway decent. The rail is very good there. A lot of places you want to stay off of the rail. Oaklawn is not one of those places.
You know, and he won from the 1 hole at Fort Erie on the dirt, so he's been able to rate. And I'm with Jonathan a little bit. He might be quicker than you think, so he might sit a good trip on the 2 in here.
If he doesn't go, there's a possibility that horse right there, the 9, could be the lone speed in this race. 9th here from Oaklawn. Vic Stauffer with the call. You're watching Fox Sports Saturday at the races on Fox Sports 2.
They're at the post. They're off. Very even start. Cash for the Soul will break on top from a Major Munnings in second. Down at the rail goes Pat Daddy. It is Cash for the Soul, the leader up the backstretch. Major Munnings is second. Pat Daddy is third. Storm Inside races in fourth. Then One Son of a Chief and Wildcat Shoals. Daftar is about to join and pass. Small Town Hero, then Chip Van Winkle, and the trailer is Forze Mao. They leave the backstretch, and Cash for the Soul is still free running. Cash for the Soul, 2 lengths in front of Major Munnings in second. One Son of a Chief is on the move, and here he comes. One Son of a Chief could get into second soon. Meanwhile, Pat Daddy is riding the rail, and Cash for the Soul has been caught at the top of the stretch. Pat Daddy gets first run at the rail. One Son of a Chief. Daftar's in the center. He's within 2 of the lead, and Pat Daddy rides that fence to a clear lead. Pat Daddy is now suddenly 4 lengths in front of One Son of a Chief. To the outside end, Daftar, and just inside of him, Chip Van Winkle. But Pat Daddy is clear. Orlando Mojica and Pat Daddy now 5 in front. Chip Van Winkle, One Son of a Chief, and Daftar. Pat Daddy wins. Pat Daddy won by 5. Chip Van Winkle was second. One Son of a Chief third.
So now 3 starts on dirt and 3 victories for Pat Daddy.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, riding for Norman McKnight last year, I got to ride a handful of horses for him. It was his first season at Oaklawn Park last year, predominantly at Woodbine, Canadian trainer, and he picked out the right horses to come last year, but he had a successful meet, came loaded this year, and obviously he figured Pat Daddy would like this racetrack. He didn't like it, he loved it.
3 for 3 over dirt. Good job by Orlando Mojica. He saw that the favorite was making a move, and he decided, let's go right now on the rail, and it worked.
Back to Santa Anita, race 6 here, 6.5 furlongs down the hill on this turf course, 3-5 on Mountain Spirit. Let's check in with Michelle Yu.
In the 500.
looking at these horses,
think so.
Montana Moon did get himself a little bit more worked up than I anticipated seeing here. And don't forget, the tendency of the hill the last couple of days has been the one horse. So Jeff Mullins does have the one horse in here. White House Road, a first-time starter. He does debut here with blinkers, but has been working with them in the mornings as well. Greg?
All right, thank you, Michelle. Yeah, of course, the 3-5 favorite, the 6 for Jeff Mullins. He also has the rail runner debuting. Dam Never Turfed, Sire Never Turfed, was a multiple stakes winner there at Trides. So getting loaded up, race 6, Santa Anita Mountain Spirit, the 6 horse for Jeff Mullins. Start number 2, odds-on favorite, Frank Miramati with the call.
Aliva. They're in the gate. And they're off. Mountain Spirit began well. White House Road was off a little bit slowly. Aliva is battling for the lead with Mountain Spirit, and just behind them, Montana Moon is down on the inside. Out of the dip and down the hill, and it's Aliva with the lead. Taos now moves up to take second. Heavily favored Mountain Spirit will track them from third. They're followed by Lacazette. Montana Moon is about 5 lengths off the lead, with about a half-mile left to go. The leader is Aliva. It's Aliva narrowly in front. Taos is challenging from the outside second. Then it's a lineup of 3 just in behind them. Down at the rail comes Mountain Spirit. Volubil is 3 wide into contention with the white cap. Just behind them, Lacazette in the white blinkers is next as they cross the dirt and come for home. The lead belongs on the inside to Aliva with Taos challenging. Mountain Spirit, Volubil far outside. Galloping Mischief is firing a huge shot in his debut, and he's coming smartly. Mountain Spirit comes through inside of Aliva, but it's Galloping Mischief who's doing all the best work. And Galloping Mischief in a promising debut scores easily. Mountain Spirit in a photo for second with Aliva. Just behind them, Montana Moon and Taos.
First-time starter for Hall of Famer Richard Mandella, Galloping Mischief. He just finds another gear.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Look at this. The split that Mike Smith got on the favorite was amazing, the 6, Mountain Spirit. But watch the blur of the 3, Galloping Mischief. And you were on the Grand Sire Victory Gallop, and wow, it looked like that
Of course,
kind of
went off at 11-1.
Yeah, and I cannot believe the acceleration that we see here with a Victory Gallop mare on the bottom side here. I mean, Flavian was loaded when he crossed the dirt, swung out not to get stopped. He had obviously been on this cold in the morning, or gelding, I should say, because he knew what he had when he crossed the dirt, and it was over with pretty rapidly from the 8th pole home. I think he was the only guy who knew it, though.
Wow, he sort of sat back. You could see him right there in third, but you're right. What was he, 11-1 with Greg, and you see how the race develops. The 6 got an absolutely perfect trip, but just gets mowed down by a talented horse. You could see he sort of drops back to third, and Flavian sort of maybe eases him out, but I mean, this stretch run was exhilarating. Holy cow.
Just completely turned on the jets here and blows by everybody. First time out, son of Into Mischief with the win for Richard Mandella. Flavian Pratt in the irons for Diamond A Racing Corp. We're going to take a break in the action. Of course, we're back next Saturday as well, 3 Eastern. Fountain of Youth on the road to the Kentucky Derby.
Has got a big lead though. At the 16th pole, he's 4 in front. As they come to the line, Roy H. does it again.
Kentucky Derby winner Orb. On the track, his runners have scored on both dirt and turf, including multiple stakes winner Autumn Warrior, stakes performers Scrapper and Malocchio, and Sipacan Harbor, winner of the Grade 1 Spinaway Stakes at Saratoga. In the sales ring, his 2-year-olds have fetched prices up to $1.25 million and multiple yearlings up to $1 million. Classic winner, classic pedigree, or standing at Claiborne Farm.
Bet the horses anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets.
Rushes out of there to take the lead.
It's easy on your computer or Naira Bets app. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates.
Soft going to turn with a link to the half lead.
Sign up now. Get a $200 new member sign-up bonus. Use promo code LIVE. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NairaBets.com.
Back here on Fox Sports Saturday at the races on Fox Sports 2. It's brought to you in part by legendary Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual unusually well. Back at Santa Anita, we do have an inquiry. Want to let you know it finished 3-9-6-2, and the second and third place finishers both flashing on the board. Let's check in with Michelle Yu with the winning connections.
Joined here by Richard Mandela, the winning trainer. Quite a performance here from Galloping Mischief. Had been working well in the mornings, but were you anticipating this kind of a debut?
A month ago, no, but the last couple works, Alex Solis has been working him, and he said, "Boss, we got something here." So I guess he's right.
Your last couple of first-time out winners have all come down the Hillside Turf Course. Has that been by design?
I don't think this out too much. I just do it.
And why the grass for this horse?
Came up that way.
Good. Congratulations here.
Thank you.
Impressive winner there, guys, Galloping Mischief.
I mean, he's a Hall of Famer. It's so simple to him, but
that's a lot. That's a lot out of him. That's
Yeah.
a lot of words out of Papa Mandela.
He's acting dry right there. I'll say one thing. He does pay attention to his riders, and he's got one of the greatest, and Alex Solis. It's been working with him for about the last 6-7 months now. And when you say something to Papa Richard, he pays attention, and I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't have a couple bucks on Pat Daddy at 15-20.
Pat Daddy up the fence, gets the job done. 3 starts on dirt now, 3 victories, and I don't think we're going to see this horse return to synthetic anytime soon.
I don't think so. Now 3 for 3, you're right. Congratulations to Norman McKnight. Yeah, you were alluding, he is a phenomenal trainer when he brings him here stateside. This is Scat Daddy out of a Empire Maker mare, Queen of the Realm, now 5 for 25 lifetime.
Inquiry still going on out here at Santa Anita, still waiting on results as well in that cross-country pick 5.
Had to be big.
The Santa Anita race was not part of the sequence, but still we had some big numbers in there. $21 horse.
$56 horse, and then the $16 horse to end the card at Oaklawn.
And look, if you do have tickets concerning in this inquiry right now, there was some contact that went on late, and there's only a nose separating second and third, so hang on to your tickets.
Yeah, involving the 9 and the 6 for second and third there in that spot. Let's take a look at the road to the Kentucky Derby. Of course, Fountain of Youth happens next week. That is going to be a loaded field. Things start getting real serious pretty soon here. Of course, War of Will looks sensational for Mark Casse in the Risen Star. We're going to see game winner, the Breeders' Cup Juvenile winner, coming back in the San Felipe very, very soon. And, of course, Maximus Mischief we saw on this show a few weeks ago, suffered his first defeat. He's back in action next weekend.
Yeah, and he's going to try to rebound, and he's going to be probably your favorite in the Fountain of Youth. Listen, I thought he fought on well. Listen, he's got a ton of talent. You can see him. He's with the big white face. He starts idle here a little bit, Gary. I don't know if he's getting tired, if he's idling. Now I think he's starting to get tired.
Well, I think you're right. He started getting tired the last 50 yards, but I think when he poked his head in front, he's a big horse with a long stride. And when he started idling, when he made the lead, he couldn't get his momentum going again. But Shug McGay, he knows what he's doing with these big horses, and I guarantee you he gained 4 or 5 lengths from that effort that we saw just now.
No change, by the way, at Santa Anita. A lot of talk as well, Fountain of Youth, about Hidden Scroll. That brilliant debut. He ran a 104 Beyer in his debut. As you take a look at that tote board there, no change at Santa Anita. But he ran a mile, 134 and 4. 5 races later that day, they ran the Fred Hooper, 136 and 1.
He's the real deal, and he was impressive doing it. And Billy Mott, he said a couple weeks ago, well, after that race, he said he doesn't expect lightning to strike twice, but he's going to try it the Justify way.
That's the scary part. It's Bill Mott, right?
There's no curse anymore.
The thing about Bill is, like, all he does is let the horse do his own thing. He lets them grow up by himself. And for a horse to throw out 104 Beyer as easy as this horse did it, knowing that Bill didn't really probably have him fully cranked is somewhat scary.
Well, he actually wanted to go to an allowance race. In the condition book, there wasn't anything that really fit his schedule, so let's go ahead to the Fountain of Youth.
I love the name. Hidden Scroll, Billy Mott. Reminds me of Raiders of the Lost Ark. Put that hat on him and a leather jacket and a bull whip walking out there trying to win a Kentucky Derby.
He looked great in that outfit.
Yep.
I'll tell you what, though, he's still one of the best. When the game, it's a big game and it's a big race, his horse is always right in the mix.
There you see, no change. 11-1 somehow, by the way, out here in that 6th race on a horse for Hall of Famer who was 4-1 on the morning line. Impressive performance. Might hear more about that runner as well coming up in the near future in Galloping Bishop. Hope you enjoyed the show. We're back next week as well at 3 Eastern time. Real quick, I believe we do have the cross-country Pick 5 results.
Do you?
Go to Naira Bets and you can find it right there. Log on to Naira Bets and there it is. It was Stones in the Road in the Franklin Square. Perfect 3 for 3 for Jeremiah Engelhardt. Kicking off our stakes action, of course, Prince Lucky in the How's Hope and a Todd Pletcher Exacta in the 4-year-old debut, and Usual Suspect taking advantage in the Down the Dusty Road Breeders. We will see you next Saturday at 3 Eastern.